Alright, hello and welcome back to, I believe this is episode 16 of Rough Rolling, where, let's just say we, dare ourselves to see how badly we can fuck things up in the shortest amount of time. I used to blame a lot of the rolls before, but, gonna mix things up and make them, happen because of choices, as opposed to random number generation. They have nothing to say because they know it's true.
Hi.
Yeah.
So,
Also, everyone is borderline sick this session.
Yep.
it's
Might
it's
be a
been
little
few
slower
weeks.
this time around. Yeah.
I didn't get a ton of sleep either, so I'm also like, yep, I'm here.
Yeah, I guess we
Definitely
didn't
here.
want to miss another week, and
I got
guess,
plenty of sleep, and then I woke up with a very sore throat.
Yay.
at least we can say that our YouTube channel has now over 500 views, which, yay, yes,
Fuck yeah.
For some reason.
for some
Thank you to
for
those
some
500.
ungodforsaken reason.
How many
I'm-
subscribers are we up to now? 3?
5.
Woo.
You're
So,
right to 5.
Let's go.
I don't even know if I'm subscribed. Hold on, this will be funny
Yeah.
if I'm not.
That means
Bruh.
not everyone.
I'm not.
not even the people in the
subscribed.
goddamn stream are fucking subscribed. Now that
I'm
that is funny.
subscribed.
That's dedication to being neutral.
When we get our 10 million play button and it gives us the names of our first subscribers, I'll be on there.
Hopefully, but hey. So, I guess, Birch, let's get a recap of what happened last time, and hopefully skip over the 2 hours of shopping and arguing over what qualifies as scrolls and potions and shit.
Yeah,
Actually, I'd be very
was
interested in
that.
hearing a recap of that.
Alright, so first, John said, we did do some shopping, and that was mostly handled out of session, but of course people want to show off their stuff, myself included, because a lot of us spent the majority, if not all of what we earned. I spent what I got on my bet, and then the amount back, and I just remembered that we're supposed to be doing this in character, so you can take that as the preamble there, and what else was I going to go over? Oh yes, there was some of Victalian's findings on the bits that we found beneath the catacombs inside of the gauntlet. There's a bit to go over there. I won't get into too many details, but some stuff on the old Vase cult. Garugamesh asked about sending stones, I believe. As far as producing them, whatever they are, it's probably just something that he has fabricated once again. I ended up spending the majority of my time going over some research that's not terribly important at the present time. There was my homunculus Etor, who I introduced, and I admit was a bit fawning over, although in recent hours I've learned that there's much more responsibility that comes with giving life to independent thought. Stop chewing on that. Get down. Woo! Are you okay?
Were you talking to the homunculus or one of your cats?
That was one of the cats. I just meant to like nudge her, and she like fell off of the table, so I was like, oh, sorry about that. I was like, I just don't want them to knock over the camera while something's happening. Oh my god. And anyway, where was I? Oh yes, Kira Hornblower gave us some information as well. I'm afraid I'm a little bit fuzzy on the details there, but we learned some information on the undead, and my companions managed to piss her off, and she let us know that she thinks that there's a calamity of some sort coming. I'm not much of a subscriber to doomsaying, but she does
Probably
seem
not a
at
big
least
deal.
informed. Well, the prince's spy master questioned her about the incident with the arena and the creatures that we're still not entirely sure on what they are. I don't believe. Lightfried was questioned about Fenrir's bite and could only say it was something from either the giant or ancient dwarven cultures. There wasn't a lot of clarity on that, unfortunately, but he did mention that a rune scribe might know, given that some of the markings on it were runic. And then there was a story that was in the Gauntlet books, and we wanted to come back later and hear more on that. And then we left. And now we're here.
Mm-hmm. The session ended right after you guys finished with Lightfrid and started going back through the main hall towards the entrance. I know there were a few comments that were made amongst yourselves, but otherwise it was just you were leaving. So, I think that's where we're going to fade back in. What is the plan for the day?
Giro, in between sessions, also did some jewelry business stuff.
Mostly bookkeeping. Like, it wasn't a lot of really interesting stuff. I know there was some stuff that was in the Vardo that was sold.
Yes. We managed quite a bit of the stuff left over in the bag of holding. Like, I added the unicorn blood ink to your inventory. Birch. And there's some other stuff. But I think the only thing left in there are the antique tools. And I think we said that Vic may have wanted them since there were wood cutting tools, but we weren't too sure what to do with them.
I wanted to do some shopping,
Okay.
but not the boring kind, the roleplay kind. Because I don't think that I did that yet.
That was on... On what?
That was for the item that I want to start making, and I want to bring Garuga Mesh along with me for that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you guys will definitely have a lot of time to do that, although I believe Gurgamesh will eventually be wandering off to do the things that we mentioned that he did between sessions. So, take it away. You guys exit the temple and either make off in your own directions or standing there sniffing the air. I don't know. You're sentient people, I hope.
This
I actually
air
want to bring
smells.
Phoenix as well, because that sounds like a prudent person to bring when talking about magic item enchantment.
Alright.
Just a random thought about that. Might or might not be a good idea. I don't know if he's an expert or not. We'll have to...
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so I wanted to... I guess... Where are we when, I guess, we're doing whatever? Are we, like, outside the tavern?
You have just left the Red Temple, so you're on the main square.
Okay. Are we all here, or, like...
I believe you all
Think so.
departed together.
Okay. So I'll grab Guru Gamesh and Phoenix as we're walking out, and I'll say, "A moment, if you would humor me. I've been having some ideas, and I thought that perhaps you two might be able to help me with some of my making some of my ideas real."
Ideas, sometimes, I can deal in those, but I've typically thought Phoenix had a better head for them than I.
If
think
it involves
perhaps-
magic, depends on the specifics.
I was... You know of items of legend, the things of stories and artifacts, things that are more than just a small magic enchantment, things that are more meaningful, impactful, things with names. I think perhaps I'm getting to the point in my career where I would like to have one of these things. But not just to buy, to make. Nothing too terribly powerful, it's not a god killer, but I think it could be interesting to have an item with your name on it. A legacy.
What type of legs?
What was that? What'd you
Go
say?
ahead, Pharynx.
Well, I haven't made anything of the sort before, but it's hardly an obstacle. I suppose it depends on the sort of capabilities.
I don't mean to offend Pharynx. I don't know if this is within your abilities. Perhaps it is, but I still wish to have your counsel on such things. Perhaps you know things better than I was, but I was thinking of commissioning insert wizard name here to help with perhaps the research that would go into such a thing.
Yes, I hear he's renowned in the art of, well, whatever it is that you want, he can probably figure out a way to make it.
Nondescript magical tinkering.
I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry, Gray.
Reese Black is the
Yeah.
name of the wizard that I think all of you have harassed quite
Yeah.
a lot since you guys
Yeah.
have been in this city.
If he didn't like it, he'd stop taking our money.
Oh no, he just, sees you guys coming in and tries to hurry all the other people that are shopping in there out the door so you won't drool on them or otherwise chase them off.
I feel like you're giving us a worse reputation than we would actually have.
Garugamesh smashes the door off the hinges. Hello, my
God.
name is Garugamesh of the Gatecrashers.
You can see why they call us that.
Let me introduce myself for the 45th time this week.
I'm a man of wealth and taste.
I have to introduce myself all the time because I don't remember any of you because I am too important.
And because I'll forget my name if I don't.
Look, it's sewed on the inside
right.
of your underwear.
Have it
How else would I
tattooed on
remember
your
how it's
chest,
spelled?
upside down, so you look down and read.
Yeah, Gilgamesh doesn't wear underwear.
I can't seem to remember if my name is spelled with an R and an L in it. So
The
good thing I
Lugamash.
Garugamesh.
Christ.
The localization team had a tough time with that one.
Oh yes, the magic item, Sovereign Glugamesh.
You know, jelly filled
Gilgamesh.
donuts.
Anyway,
Something like that.
I'll share my idea for the item. I say, I was thinking of not much of an artist. I can't draw such things, but I've got it in my mind. A set of studded leather gloves, but the studs are silver with blue sapphires in each stud. So kind of like an earring of sorts with each stud.
Pretty
And
odd.
The same expensive.
yes, but not large sapphires. The kind of size of sapphire that you would get as a waste product in gem cutting. So the stuff that is easily discardable
Is
by
this something?
most gem cutters.
Is this something you can afford? I sell my shavings to all my fans.
Oh, gem shavings.
From the gems, right?
From the gems.
Oh, good. I was
What
a
else
bit
would I-
worried
what
for a moment.
What else would I be talking? Does it look like I ever shaved my beard?
I wouldn't say.
Perhaps you shave your
Such an
legs. I
insult.
can't tell.
My what?
Your legs.
I pull open. I lift up my
You
my
pull
pant
open
leg.
your legs.
I pulled open my legs, and you see that my calves are silky smooth. And I grab Sven's hand so he can feel them.
Yes, you pay close attention. It makes sense why people would buy your shavings.
Yes.
Christ.
It's so that way I don't get any chafing.
But
It does seem
anyway,
unpleasant.
the idea behind these gloves would essentially be to help people to understand you. You know how when you gesture with charades, people who don't speak your language can sometimes understand you. I was thinking perhaps something along that, where some kind of low magical effect, where someone who could watch me use these hand gestures might be able to understand me better, like charades.
I'm not sure why you
Does
would
sound possible.
even want to talk to people who don't speak our language. They shouldn't even if they're going to be in this country, they should be able to speak common.
Ill. Then I'm pulling something up. Essentially out of game. The idea behind it would be like a level 1 or level 2 spell, like the ability to convey a message of 3 words or less, kind of like speak with animal or tongues.
Your mother's a homosexual. You could tell everyone that.
Your ears cannot count.
I need to see, because there's a spell that this is kind of vaguely based off of. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
okay. It was pretty much that, like speak with animals or tongues, like conveying a simple message but through hand gestures.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Just because they don't speak common doesn't mean they're animals.
But anyway, I was thinking perhaps for the studs, a mithril and silver alloy, the mithril to make it more hardy. I mean, these are studded leather gloves. I'm going to be in combat. They need to be more durable than just silver. But I feel like I would want. The idea is with the studs and the sapphires, it makes the hand movements easier to see for gesturing, but not too distracting either. I was thinking of red rubies, but I feel like that would be too distracting, and then they wouldn't be able to see other things. So perhaps this combination would be a perfect middle ground where they can both see it, but it's not terribly distracting.
You would think that, but I'm worried that the blue sapphires, while you're waving your hands around, I'm worried they might bring out the blue in your eyes. And, you know, they're really just captivating like that, aren't they, Sven?
Gurugamesh, if I swung that way, I'd be flattered, but I know that you are just fucking with me.
Little part of him dies inside.
This is so sad.
Gurugamesh gets friend-zoned by Sven.
Well, I think it's a good enough catch anyway.
That said, this is something that perhaps would need research, and this is the kind of item that would also require specialists. And both of these things I'm not terribly familiar with, but I was hoping that you two would know perhaps something of it.
I could certainly help with some of the finer details of the craftsmanship.
Well, as far as the specifics of making an item that gains more abilities on its own, I don't know much myself, but I could certainly find out.
John, you're just fucking with me. Okay. John messaging me on Discord, you good? I'm like, what? Good.
Yeah, I think we should get a plan together to make this happen. What do you need from us?
Well, I don't know any of the smiths. I've got an idea that this kind of thing would perhaps need to be done at a city bigger than this one, or perhaps by dwarves, at least for the craftsmanship. Done at the proper forge. After all, it is working with mithril, and quite fine, perhaps not jewelry, but along the same lines of jewelry.
Right.
And the magical effects, from what I understand, is not something that is commonly known. It might need research into being made a thing, and I will be honest, I don't know the first thing of spell research. But Pharynx, you know quite a lot of research, so I'm led to believe.
Yes. If it does require a specific spell being made, I am happy to say that I've managed to piece together another one in the meantime.
Oh, is that so? What
Yes.
spell is this?
One to provide us a temporary shelter. I didn't happen to make it ready today, but it should be helpful at
Leomund's
some point in the
tiny hut?
future. It requires a door. It sort of makes a sub-level of the shadow plane, and, well, it's not dangerous, at least.
I just realized, I don't think I've ever seen a Pathfinder version of Leomund's tiny hut, or any of those kinds.
Yeah, because
Is
they're
that
named
caught-
after people that were like family to Gygax.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
know, but I'm surprised there's not an equivalent.
product identity.
Mm-hmm.
They also claim that as product identity because Leomund and Mordenkainen and all that are part of the Greyhawk setting. Not that you know what the Greyhawk setting is currently.
Also,
but-
Tensor's floating disc.
Ow!
Same character
Little
made
buddy.
by his son, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's just Tiny Hut in this one, which is, I believe, only Sorcerer, Wizard, and Bard, actually. But yeah, it's it makes a that one makes a hut that protects you against like the temperature being too hot or too cold, and rain, dust storms, things like that. But the main thing about it is it's opaque from the outside and transparent from the inside. So it's actually also a pocket combat spell. It's pretty great. This one, on the other hand, makes a little... it makes a little, like, basically Mage's Mansion, but it's a quickie Mage's Mansion, so it only lasts for 10 minutes a level. There's no food or anything. It's one hang-up is that it has to be on a door, so I can't just cast it anywhere.
Unless you carry a door around.
Yes.
We look to Garugamesh.
I can do that.
Make a specialized tower shield for you. But yeah, it's a get the fuck out spell. So
Okay.
if we need that,
Well,
Is it important?
in any case, I'm more than happy to fund such a thing. I've got quite a fund set up. I'm not sure everything that could go into this, but hopefully it will be achievable. Though I understand that this is going to take time.
well, hopefully we have some time in the immediate future.
Perhaps.
I can
I don't-
dedicate my time to it.
I would greatly appreciate this, though I don't know whether you would get the specific metal combination without a specialized forge.
Well, if it comes down to it, we need to go to the Dwarven City. I'm sure I could poke around for you.
Perhaps we could send a courier or a message of some sort?
We could. That'd be a good idea.
Have them send it back to us when it's done?
That might be wisest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose that we will talk about this when we all have time to think on it. It sounds as if we have important things to do today, though.
Right. Which was, well, the thing with the lady.
Yes.
Are we doing that today?
No, we're still waiting on. I mean, I'm not part of this conversation, but out of character, we're waiting on magic items to finish crafting, as well as we've got the
tutor coming?
Yeah, got the tar barrel carry. If anyone was going to participate in that, which I wasn't sure about that.
Giru is.
Also, half of us are still pretty injured from the arena.
I'm full health.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
good for you.
you sat in the back.
You did.
I do need to round them up, stubborn bastards. That is it. As I see you cringing away when you're hurt, both of you. Stop running from my attempts to knit your wounds. Damn it! It's really goddamn irritating. I know what I've got, and if I want to get rid of a spell to patch you up, so be it. Trust me. I wish I hadn't cast Shatter in the arena.
I'm gonna drop 500 gold to get another Cure Light Wounds wand.
You can take the money for the Cure Light Wounds wand out of the party fund.
You know what? I'll buy a second one.
750.
Yes, it is 750. Unless you're recharging your current one.
Oh, right, it is 750. Alright, then I'll drop 1500. Get two.
Well, there's 1500 in the Bardo.
Alright. I will subtract it from the Vardo. I can keep it on my sheet. Well, I'll keep one of them on my sheet, because I seem to be the one who uses them the most. Though, honestly, we could also keep one on Daxius. I feel like he's a good candidate to have them.
Do bards have Cure Light?
They do.
Let me double check.
I didn't think they did.
They do.
Oh.
In fact,
Does
you should all check your spell list, because every one of you except for John has
we all
Cure
can.
on your spell lists.
Does using a Cure Light Wounds wand break invisibility? It's not a hostile action.
It's not attacking or anything.
It does not make a sound, at least. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I think you might have to talk. So you wouldn't be able to stealth, but I think we would be keeping up invisibility.
Yeah, I don't
Unless
think it would
the
break
Cure
it.
Light is a hostile. If you try to use Cure Light to hurt people, it would break it.
So undead.
So don't do that. If that's happening, then I think we have problems.
Mm-hmm.
I just... Okay, so you can put that on your sheet then, Daxius, if you want. I think you're a genuinely good candidate to have one.
And where are they? They're just in the Vardo, or?
No, I put it in the chat so you can just drag that onto your sheet.
Oh, perfect.
Unless anyone has any objections to that.
No, I'll take one. I agree. I'm trying to focus more on support lately anyway.
I love the idea of you just going invisible and using Cure Light Wounds. That's your entire turn in combat. So dumb. Fernix over there seething, like, I can do it better!
Yes. Also, I can't hurt things, so welcome to my life.
It's completely
Just watch.
Vernix.
Yeah, I'll just watch Lang get taken apart by our Earth Elemental because I want to do a D8. Sounds about right.
Do you want to have the old wand of Cure Light Wounds, Fernix?
I mean, I might as well. How many charges does it have left?
18.
Sounds good.
I like the scenario where everyone else is fucking around, except Vic is the one that gets killed at the end.
Right.
It's like, yeah, both of you guys were invisible. Like Sven and Daxius are both running around invisible with their magic wands. Fernix is like conscientiously objecting to healing, and then Vic is just getting ripped in half by a giant.
We're just wasting our turns all in like downing invisibility potions and using cure light wounds on Fernix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pissing off everyone in the process.
you're just doing budgeting on the back line, and
Yeah.
Vic's head is splattered against the concrete.
Just the way we do it in the Gate Crashers.
Mhm.
That's the way we do it.
Yeah, it
I
is.
I was at least like, you know, you got hit hard enough by the giant that I was like, well, even if I had healed you, it really wouldn't have mattered, would it? It was quite a bit.
Yeah, it was theoretically an insta kill.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I'll go in and try to put up some sort of like thing to mitigate. Nope. No turn. Okay.
Oh.
Mhm.
What happens now?
Right.
You guys have gone over the things you wanted to do in order to start crafting this wondrous item. Well, artifact, I suppose it would qualify as in the end. What happens after this?
Oh, I don't know. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I don't know. What do you want to do?
Oh, I don't know. Daxius, what do you want to do?
I'm not there. As soon as you guys started talking about this shit, I
Daxius?
left to
Daxius?
the chapter house, and I'm just reading more of my book until someone needs me.
Fernix, what do you want to
actually-
do?
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like anyone else remembers. We signed a verbal contract to hang out with the giant and bring him some alcohol to talk more about his adventures. And by we,
Right. I
I'm
thought that
pretty
was
sure that
later.
was Sven.
That's late
More
for
about that.
I heard a rumor that Theodore von Wollenstone was having a masquerade party.
We should invite the giant to that.
We could crash it. We are the Gate Crashers. But I was actually hoping to go on business. So maybe you guys could come separately from me.
Alright, Sven wants to buy a big barrel of mead.
You do understand people will associate us if we show up, even if it's at different times, right?
Well, no, I'll be in my nice clothes. They won't associate me with y'all.
The perfect disguise.
My clothes are nice.
Classism.
I like the idea that Garugamash is the kind of person who his disguise is akin to, like, a man putting on lipstick and a wig and, like, looking completely unconvincing. Like, that's essentially him when he puts on noble clothes. Like, it's not convincing.
Yeah.
It is
He's
very much
just
convincing.
A grumpy, grizzled guy in fancy clothes.
'Cause I can't imagine him like, bathing and then, doing hair up and getting, a shave or, actually going to a barber or like anything like that. Nope, he just puts on fancy clothes and says, good enough.
Well, no, because that's the dwarven style, and I'm
Understood.
sorry if the people of Ensburg aren't like used to seeing how dwarves, wearing fancy clothes, but I'm equally as fancy. They're just racist against dwarves.
Meanwhile, Silversmith's standing like 10 feet from you, hobnobbing with some rich person and looks completely presentable.
The total whiplash that Gilgamesh gives off whenever he talks about racism is it's disorienting. It's like the conversation earlier about how like you can't you can't consider the people who don't speak common to be actual people. They're in our country. They have to learn things. And then was immediately like and loudly offended about Barry, just like not even kind of implying that they were animals. Like, hey, they're people too. What is going on?
Urugamesh is the one that makes a connection in his mind and has to say something out loud about it, even though that's not at all what Sven was having to say. He says more about Urugamesh than it does anyone else.
Sure.
We're a big old band of misfits, aren't we?
Yeah.
We'll work
Well,
for it.
You guys do have some hours to kill. I know Garugamesh is going off to actually do. You're going to Maltz's to do a bit of auction work. You're going over to Sage's to do a bit there. I think you are also. You did a little bit of like work before going out into the manor hold to search for actual work. I think, and that brings you at least to around 6 or 7 in the evening, which is when you're told, I believe, at the house of Judge Karkstein that the judge is not there. Well, I think you went to sort of Kato.
Yeah, it was the guy. It was the not that he wasn't a halfling. It was the Amish man.
Shit, I just need to find his. Yeah, that is Orcado. The guy who runs the copper works, the red works, and he's down in his offices, like in his business, because he was a smith and kind of remains one. But when you go over to Karkstein's, you're told by the butler, who does recognize you, by the way, because you had done work for his daughter earlier in the week, that he is not there. He is over at the manor of von Wollenstein, and they are doing a masquerade.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why Guru Mesh would think it's okay to think he can just go to a masquerade uninvited and, solicit business, but
He would.
He would.
That's what he's going to do.
It's not our place to correct you there,
Right.
Also, do you
Garugamesh
even get like a carnival mask or anything?
Oh yeah, no. Garugamesh is going to go over to a tree, not even out in the woods, just one of the tree, and strip the bark off of it and make a mask that way.
Give me a craft check.
Can I do survival? Oh, craft? Oh, I can. Wait.
It is not a skill
I'm only good at...
because you are not skilled in. I believe this would qualify as carpentry. So let's see how good this goes.
I would probably beg to differ. I'm not skilled in carpentry, but I've definitely peeled the bark off a tree in the Boy Scouts. But I would say it's survival.
It can be pretty easy with some kind of trees.
Yeah.
Hold
like
on,
willow
are you
tree...
saying Garugamesh in the Boy Scouts, or you a person?
No,
in the Boy
me.
Scouts?
Like, if you just know what trees, like, willow trees are extremely easy to peel the bark off of.
Oh sure.
That's just a known fact. That's why I would say it's survival. Garugamesh would know a tree that he can get the bark off easily.
Oh no! This isn't to get the bark. I'm assuming that you're able to get the bark, no problem, because you have a knife and you can literally just saw it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I should have made it clear. Garugamesh isn't going to try and do anything fancy. He's just going to jab the knife into the bark of the tree, twist out 2 holes in a mouth, and wear that as his mask.
Okay, so you're like, yeah, okay, so that craft check makes sense. It's not even like you just went into the park out front of the Shrine of Athisius, carved a big fucking, chunk of, like, I don't know, fir bark or birch like wood off, and cut a hole in a mouth, like for eyes and mouth. Probably, maybe not killing the tree, but it's gonna suffer come this winter. Put little holes in for like the string, and then like strung it around your face, and it looks awful. Like, it doesn't look like something grew up on your face, but this is not.
I would like to refute what you said at the beginning of the session, where you said it was the players' decisions that would lead us down to bad consequences. But no, look at that. Look at that craft skill check. If I had rolled a 20 on that, it'd be an immaculate mask, and I'd be well accepted into the masquerade ball.
We'll see. So, do you tell any? I mean, I know you mentioned it to Sven and Furnix, but do you gather anybody else, or you're just going yourself?
I'm just going myself.
Okay.
Unless Furnix or Sven indicated that they wanted to come.
Sven might go. I think Sven.
I take Sven. I take Sven.
I was planning on going without letting him know.
I will say, unless my aspect mask is being delivered, I'm going with the bark mask.
Well, you haven't gone to visit. Was that Ewan?
I was told it was going to be delivered to me.
to Ewan.
Told you and well,
Ewan.
I guess I've not been. All right. Can I don't want to make everyone sit here and roleplay me going to Ewan to check if there's a mask. If it's not there, are we able to hand wave it? Me checking if it's there?
Yeah, I think we can probably do that. I just want to check.
Also,
I'm trying to remember where the
Yeah.
crafting rules were.
Oh, I can repost them. No offense to Gray by any means, but I did not care for how flowery they were, so I rewrote them myself.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
the way that I wrote them was to make sure that there were no loopholes.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
I meant for making magic items.
Oh, for making magic items.
Yeah, I was also just gonna.
I think for that, it's not really heavily changed. It was like 1,000
It
gold a day
was-
you're able to work on. Hmm. But
yes,
either way.
The
it's 1,000 gold, and then you can make a roll to reduce the amount of time.
it was
Garugamesh.
250 gold of progress each hour was what I was trying to figure out. Because I had my eye on something,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how long it would be.
So it's 2,000 per day, and you can do
Breaks
more
down to
than that.
250 per hour. I can actually remember that.
Okay. So
Un-
no, it would
unlike,
not be
you
done just based on the value of the actual item and the amount of time which has passed. Because you went to visit the Druidess, I believe, the morning before you went into the arena. So about 18 hours, or not 18, god damn it, about a day and a half.
Yeah.
About 32 hours, something like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was not doing mental math
Sorry
in
for
my
the
head.
pain.
How long was it gonna take?
Well,
Based
it's
on that.
6,500 gold, and if it's 2,000 per day,
Oh, it was 6,500 gold?
6,500 gold. You paid for
Oh.
the actual crafting material, not the finished product.
Oh, okay. So it's 6,500 gold divided by 250.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be about 3 days.
Wait. 6,500 divided by 250. That equals 26.
Hours.
So
Of
26
which you can only
hours,
work
right?
on 8 per day.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. I'm not even sure. Yeah. Anyways, I guess I'm going wearing the bark mask, and I nudge to Sven. Hey, what are you wearing?
I guess Sven does have to have a mask, huh? Is there like a mask store I can just go to?
There are
Or
definitely
mobile
places
shop?
that you'd probably be able to find something. It is a town which is currently in its Midsummer Festival, so there are probably a decent amount of kiosks. Or you could
Alright.
possibly, if you wanted to go to like an actual tailor to get something made. That aside, you might be able to find something being sold at Tinker Master's Toys.
Garugamesh is prodding you to hurry up because he made his own mask because he's in a rush.
Okay, I'm gonna splurge here. I'm gonna go to a professional tailor, be like, hey, I need something done quick, and I want it to look good.
What do you want it to
Here's-
look like?
I think it would be funny if I went with a wolf mask, just for the irony.
I figured, like, yeah, I want one that looks like a tiger, so you're gonna put your own face over your own face, and just to be like, no, it's a mask, totally.
Wait, don't you have a mask? Like not in the game?
In real life, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
you
did it.
do.
I did it for the Halloween stream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
I missed
Yes.
the bit when you were putting one new white tiger thing on your desk per
Yeah.
stream.
I ran out of
Oh.
things I could do it for. But yeah, I'll pay like, we'll say like let me think here. I'll pay like 50 gold for this because it's a rush job and I want it to look nice.
I'm gonna say it'll probably top out at more like 25, because you're like the barrel of meat. I think only runs you like
Okay.
10.
Oh, if it's only gonna be 25 gold to get a good mask, can I take my wooden mask to the tailor and ask for a mask as well?
What are you gonna have that look like?
I
An
want
elf.
I want a really scary. Ooh, I was gonna say a demon, but I feel like that wouldn't be good for business.
Looks exactly the same, except it's just got like a nice band.
Let's do a really happy demon.
Okay, so you're going for like something like an imp.
Sure.
Sure. Basically same price, 25 and 25. It takes the tailor who is like kind of confused as to why this is being made, but actually because he recognizes the both of you, does not care, takes the money and does the work.
Yeah, I need
you
specific
reckon-
measurements. I can't use a people mask.
He recognizes us as idiots.
No,
I
it's
mean, if
famous
you want
people.
to, if you want to, think of it that way, you are more than welcome to. Either way, his son, who is like maybe 10 or 11, as you're waiting, kind of badgers at the both of you to like sign things and talk and just. He's an exuberant kid who really has no concept of like what life doing horrifically violent shit is actually like.
You know that man over there? He has a pet tiger that eats little boys just like you.
It's not true. He only eats them when they're bigger.
Yeah, he said they only eat them when they get bigger. Ha!
Garugamesh pulls out the vial of gelatinous cube and goes, "You drink this and become big and strong now."
Oh, Garugamesh, don't do
No.
that.
That will like that could like dissolve their insides and kill them.
he doesn't actually let the kid take it.
Which
Well,
is probably
hold
good
on.
because he's probably dumb enough to believe it because he's 10.
I have 2 items in my inventory, actually. I have the vial of gelatinous cube and the vial of acidic slime. Are both of those acidic?
Yeah, what can I feed this child to kill him?
Well, I think
You know
the
what?
acidic slime was what you got from the dissolving creature in the arena, correct? Or was that something that Fernix collected?
No, those were both out of the gauntlet.
Okay, so who would you have gotten that from?
We had a gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the difference between acidic slime and gelatinous cube is, but
Was it possibly from the Ankh eggs? Like from way,
Might
way
have
back?
been.
well, we had that trap
Oh,
where we fell
yeah.
down and fought that gelatinous cube. I thought we got it
Yes.
from that. I don't know where
That
the
was
acidic
the-
slime came.
No, I think you did
No,
take
that-
a
yeah.
sample from the Ankh eggs.
Oh, well.
The
I guess
acidic
that's-
slime was from the Ankh eggs, I thought.
Okay, well.
The cube
I
was
could have
from...
given the kid the acidic slime, so really I get brownie points for not harming the kid.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's how that
The
works.
kid goes
Good
for
job.
it, and Sven's like, I don't know. Maybe you're like, no.
No. This is a special growth formula. I'm a dwarf. I've got to get big and strong. If you saw my arena performance where I grew into a giant, that's what this does.
I'll give you a free bit of advice, kid. Do not ever listen to this dwarf.
All dwarves are honest and true. Do not
Most
listen to him.
dwarves are.
Ask
Most
your
dwarves.
ask your parents about him.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Anyways,
Holy shit.
moving right past that.
Mhm.
The kid does stay a little while, just being exuberant and very interested, and then finally his father comes back with the finished product, looking kind of harried from the work. He hands Sven his first. It does look very well made. The muzzle is long enough to cover yours and give a little bit of space to be able to eat and drink. It's pretty lifelike. It's primarily wood with tufts of like faux fur that have been like basically made out of linen and cloth that have been stitched to it. It attaches to your head by a band that runs around the back that you tie off. Garugamesh, you are handed yours next. This one is colored a a deep red, almost black kind of color, and it has the expression of probably a relatively baser imp. You've got like the pointed ears and a high brow. Honestly, it looks a little like Ator, though it doesn't have like the tongue coming out of his mouth. It does have like the teeth coming up and down, but it has a more jovial expression, kind of reminding you of perhaps a less miserable gargoyle.
Nice.
Here you go. Here you go.
Hell yeah. Gilgamesh pays him, and you know what? He tips an extra 5 gold because
I'll do the same.
he tips an extra 10 gold.
Yeah, I'm just doing 5. Fuck you.
All
You
right.
can win this battle.
It's
The
poker
tailor
all
thanks
over
you
again.
and hands a little bit of money to his son, who's like, "I'm gonna buy a sword," and just kind of runs back into like a back room. And Taylor's like,
You know, we've got some spare weapons
He
laying
will
around.
not.
That
he's 10.
he would make a fine soldier.
He's
Let's
10.
tip him with a +1 longsword.
We've got this Warhammer that nobody wants.
I do not want my 10-year-old son around something like that. Thank you very much. Your performance in the arena was impressive, but I want my son to not do that.
Well, then I believe we have a masquerade to get to. And I give the tailor the address and say, and you're invited.
You actually?
Yeah!
The tailor tells you, or you tell the tailor to go to Palace of Unfallen Stone, and he looks at you and like, they will never let me in through those gates.
They will if you're with us. Come on.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah,
I'll pull
what's-
Gilgamesh aside. I hate to play the classes card, but he is a merchant, a craftsman. I don't think they would let him in.
Yeah,
And
Gilgamesh,
so
what's
am I.
that guy's name?
I think
Right.
it would look badly on us if we brought him, especially if he is, you know.
Truth be told, unless you had an invitation, the only reason you're gonna get in is because, well, you're famous.
Famous. Well,
Yes, we won the arena. We did the gauntlet. We were famous around here, are we not?
I've not had anyone throwing coins my way, kissing my feet, giving me massages, any of the normal stuff you expect when you're famous.
Perhaps it is because you are a very shut-in dwarf.
Possibly. Maybe I smell too bad.
That too. You really should groom yourself more closely for someone who likes to pretend he is a noble.
I am a noble.
Eh. Anywho, I have some meat to attend to. I thank the tailor, and I want to go buy some really strong mead.
That'll cost you 15 gold for a barrel.
Hell yeah, I'll do it. And then I want a pre-game with the giant.
No. We do not need to go in there drunk.
I think everybody's got sickness brain, where we're just making the stupidest decisions physically possible.
No.
Like we're trying to make this a mess.
No.
So,
Gilgamesh is also going to buy a barrel so that we can come in with 2 kegs.
by barrel, I mean like what you bought to put in the back of the Vardo.
Yeah, we can carry those, right?
I mean, theoretically.
Yeah, Sven and I are both pretty strong. We can have one on Gilgamesh's shoulder and the other on Sven's.
How much does a gallon weigh? Isn't it usually like 5 pounds?
Yeah.
That's a good amount.
You would have to move it using a cart even together. Because I believe a
Just
barrel that size stores 128
55?
gallons. I believe.
28.
I mean, yeah, Garugamesh could
Alright,
probably
Garugamesh.
lift.
You need to get
600
really
pounds.
angry at this mead and then enlarge yourself.
Yeah, Garugamesh is gonna try and, you know, he's gonna try and be able to carry one by himself. Does a 21 pass?
This isn't a matter of like strength for this kind of a situation. A barrel. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's down. You know, unless otherwise, I'm gonna say that you buy a regular like what's that? Like an English
20.
measurement of it. So a barrel would hold 32 gallons, which definitely the both of you be able to pick up. If you wanted something like a hogshead or an actual butt, that would be significantly heavier. And I think your holding above your head weight, Garugamesh, is 400.
Jeez.
So 5 times 125.
Well, heck yeah. Okay. Finn, I believe we have enough to go party.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So we go pre-game with the giant.
Can we bring the Frost Giant? That'd be sick.
I think he knows
No
better.
Mm.
Okay. Do the rest
If
of you
we have enough time.
What?
If we have enough time before the masquerade, could pre-game with the giant.
Well, I mean, this is kind of going on. It's about 6, maybe closing on 7 by the time you're getting, yeah, probably closer to 7 by the time you're getting done with all the work that you had to do with both at Maltz and at Sages and personal work running around in the manor hold. Like, that's going to take a certain amount of time. Getting Sven, then going to the tailor to get the work done as a rush job. So you're looking like 7 o'clock. The barrel carry is at 10. So you got 3 hours to go in here, and I don't remember like anybody else discussing when they were going to go back to meet Lightford. I think it was just sort of later. It was
Yeah. In that hour that passed, I was gonna see if I could slap together some sleeves of many garments.
I think so. The sleeves of many garments. That's like 250 gold.
They're 200.
Yeah,
So-
that shouldn't be a problem. Hell, I thought one of you was given one as a prize from the dance competition.
Yes. I thought it was Daxius, maybe?
Dexius was the only one in
Only
the dance
did,
competition.
so-
Yes. Well,
If you're talking, you're muted.
awareness.
Yeah, you're muted.
What are we looking? What item is it? I missed which one it
Sleeves of
was.
many garments.
Are you sure that wasn't the hat of disguise he got?
Might have been. Well, either way, the
I
sleeves of many
think
garments.
that is
are able to make-
actually.
The sleeves only change your clothes.
Yeah, they only change your clothes.
The
I
hat
think
can make
the-
you look like a different race too.
Okay,
The
yeah.
sleeves of
Yeah.
many garments were one of the items that was offered to me by to buy in the Narrows last session. But the hat of disguise was the actual reward I got. I'm pretty sure from
Okay.
the dance competition.
So yeah, you're able to put together the sleeves in like about an hour for 200 gold. Yeah.
Right.
It
Only cost me 95.
I think Gurgamesh could just use the hat of disguise to give himself a mask.
You could have. You didn't think of that though.
I thought about using it with the mask, but you know, a souvenir mask would have just been fun to have.
Because that's something you can probably add to your character sheet if that is if you want to, like a souvenir mask.
Oh yeah, I should do that.
I just added it in miscellaneous items.
Yeah. All right. So, what is the plan? Like, just the order of events that is going to be happening. I didn't
Well,
know
I
if
believe-
everyone was meeting up to listen to Lightfrid. I'm hoping that at least one of
Yeah.
you read like the story from the Gauntlet book. Okay. At
Was
least-
it
at least one person?
was it from last week?
No, you got the Gauntlet books maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Because I might have read it, but
Oh,
it's
maybe
not
I did.
like
Was
I'll
was that
remember
what you,
it now.
was that what you
Last
sent in
one.
records last week?
No. If you need a link to the Gauntlet books, I can link it to you again.
I'm just trying to find where they were.
It is the last story in the list, number 11.
Ah,
In the Halls of the Giant Kings by H.M. Claudius.
yes.
I-
Will I make this stuff and you guys don't even look at it? I mean, I don't really expect much
Well,
more than that, but
I mean, my in-game reason has just been that Daxis has been reading this magic book the entire fucking time and hasn't had time for anything else.
yeah.
As soon as he's done that, he's going to be chewing through these Gauntlet books.
Is this something
My
you think I
excuse is
should
that I
read for the
forgot.
stream?
If you think it's, I mean, if you think it's worth it, I mean, there's a lot here.
Yeah, that's why. To make the story very short, it's sort of a retelling of Hamlet in a bit. Like, there is definitely the elements, king ousted by brother who puts himself up as a new king, son who is chased out, finds new allies in an ice giant who go on an adventure to get magic weapons made. Son returns to kill his uncle in a duel and becomes king. It is very
Yeah.
much told from a humanocentric, like an anthropomorphic or anthropocentric view of everything. So, and I believe when you spoke with Lightfrid, he said that humans have taken stories, and that's probably one of them from giants, but the stories as he knows them are less likely to be focused on the humans and more so on the giants.
Right, I remember us covering that.
Mm-hmm. I remember that the ice giant saying that was only like a third of the story, and
He mentions that the second part is told as frequently. The third one, however, is not. He says he only knows sort of a Sparks Notes level knowledge of that one, but the second one he says he could likely recount once he had enough time to think about it.
and enough alcohol.
Yeah, and enough booze. That always
Hell
helps.
yeah.
Okay. And that is also a long story, but that will be told in character, so you'll be able to ask questions and whatnot. So what is the order of events, and who is doing what?
Sven
Just
just
reading
wants to
the
have
whole
fun at the
time.
masquerade.
Well, I was gonna say Sven and I will be at the masquerade, but it would be nice for Fernix, Daxius, and Vic to have a turn at roleplay.
Oh, could Sven bring Natari as his +1?
I suppose
Wow.
so. That might be.
a +1 implies that you have an invitation in the first
Yeah, but
place.
you don't. You are gate
I-
crashing.
I will say that I'm not against this. However, know that this is Natari, and she's going to be around a bunch of rich folk. Take that for what you will.
I'd rather not cause trouble since I'm there on business.
Maybe the first time Gilgamesh has ever said that.
Not when I'm on business.
That's the first time that he said it and meant it.
And when I was trapped in the Lutz Manor hold, I wasn't there to poke around. I was there to get out and make some money.
Except
I wasn't-
that isn't what you ended up doing.
I did. I did the work.
You did do the work. After following or tricking one of the employees into taking you into the basement, where you then fell down a 60-foot shaft.
Yeah, but
We
that
all
wasn't.
make
That was
mistakes,
unintentional.
Gray.
That was unintentional. That wasn't meant to happen.
You made no attempt to I should probably not, jump down this hole.
No, I did. I tried to go down it slowly, but I failed
I
the
know.
check.
I'm like, you didn't have a rope. You didn't have anything to. and you're taking everything with you, and you rolled like a 2.
Yeah.
It all worked out in the end.
Ah! Ruin your clothes.
I got new clothes.
I need to get new clothes.
Yeah, we should have asked while we were down there if we could see the impression that Garughamish's landing made in the mud.
Unfortunately, you didn't go up the area where because he had to walk down through the underground creek in order to get to the entrance into the temple. So,
Yeah, well,
you could probably find it if you really wanted to. Seems like a lot of effort.
like a
Native
perfect
American
Garugamish mold.
tracking. We put our fingers in the dirt, rub it together, and we say, Gilgamesh was here recently.
It's his face imprinted in the mud. It's like, yeah, wow. Thank you. Thanks for your inputs, Finn.
So, anyways, yes. Who is doing what? What is the order of events? We're running a
Unless someone
masquerade?
needs me, I'm just reading my
Well-
book in the chapter house.
I think we might want to go see Lightfoot first, because like a lot of time for that. So I can go and collect Daxius for that. Pretty much just come and be like, hey, we're gonna go talk to that giant.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Just give me a second, and I like just fucking. I take I do some gestures in the air, like reading off like the book. Try to do something. Nothing happens. God fucking damn it! I don't understand a word this is trying to fucking tell me. I'm done with this. Let's just fucking go.
Well, no harm in picking it up later.
I'll probably try again later, but I've been stuck on the halfway point of this book for the last week, and I'm fucking pissed. It doesn't make sense.
Well, perhaps a bit of distance will provide some perspective.
Maybe.
Probably because cents haven't been invented yet. It's gold, copper, and
Okay.
All right, we make our way over.
Just
All
kind
together?
of pat him on the shoulder, like, you know.
It's a lot, you know.
Oh my god,
All
leave
right,
Dax
so-
alone.
Need to get him one of those like emotional support animals. They do those on college campuses every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you're trying to take finals and there's just like a room full of puppies.
Actually, can I have Etor be my emotional support homunculus?
I don't think that'll help.
You think that's
oh,
okay?
we should bring Etor to the masquerade.
Well, I was intending on it.
No,
Of course,
I
he
don't
doesn't
think we
really need a
should.
costume. Oh. I'm just trying to figure out how much this fucker is supposed to be able to hold. So I know which stuff I have to ask my caddy for.
Oh boy. All right.
Well,
Oh,
go and collect the others.
Alrighty.
all right.
Follow
Then,
the lead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I figure out where Vic is, and I just sort of like get Etter to go over and start gently pushing him in our direction.
I mean, realistically, he's probably the one carrying the or moving the barrels.
Oh,
I think he's the size of a cat.
yes, he's weaker than me.
So about 90 pounds, 95 pounds of weight. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe rolling it. Anywho, with the amount of money that you spent, you definitely get a lot, like a decent amount of higher alcohol content needs. So you're good, even if the sizes were a little bit off.
Pick him up and put him on the cart with the barrels, and we'll just head towards the temple.
Mhm. So, You go through the crowds that are thronging along the streets, and it's definitely a lot busier. You get the sense that as the Midsummer Festival is coming to an end, that most of the attention is finally coming. You know, you got one of the bigger events tonight that's like for the actual festival, and then tomorrow during the feast that will be for you guys, there will be a fireworks display. So you have that to look forward to. You get into the Red Temple. No one stops you. You're actually able to go around the back in order to like unload and stuff, because why drag that through the entire front of the temple? Unless you want to for exercise for whatever reason, in which case, anywho, you arrive in the back, and Lightfoot really hasn't gone many places. He has food that has probably been given to him by the Red Temple, and like still has to have his glasses on to see a lot of things. You actually see he does have a book with him, like sized for him book, most likely written in his language. And he kind of like open or mouth full, like greets you all as you come in.
Give him the warm greeting.
So, can I ask what you're reading now?
Reviewing old stories. Part of it's in here. I knew I had it written down somewhere. And he kind of like leans forward. This is about as what I remembered.
Oh. Fireworks.
Or your cat just running.
They all woke up, that's for sure. Definitely woke me up too.
Alright, so you're able to bring the stuff in that you wanted to. None of the like the temple novices help you or anything, but nobody like tries to stop you or anything like that. So I guess spend a little time. How does that go? Or what questions do you have asked, or do you want me to just start the story?
If you got something, we can start there and come up with questions as we're going along.
Sure. Everyone else?
No questions.
Okay. He asks you guys like if you know the original portion of the story, and I'm going to assume that your characters, at least some of you, did read it. So, that said, for those of you who didn't, he recounts more or less the way that I did. Human man kills his brother, takes the throne, forces the sun out, attack between him and the giants, magical weapons, magic duel, dead uncle. Peace among the lands, or across the lands.
For a minute or two.
For a minute or two, yeah. Yeah, for a fucking minute or two. He has to get a little bit drunk in order to get into this, but, you know, wiping his beard clean, he goes, okay, I'm not a skald. It's actually been quite a long time since I've had to recount anything. Well, I suppose I should just get into it. With our great enemy, the monstrous warlock Siegfried, sent to his grave, peace and calm fell over the kingdoms of man and giant. Wulfric took the throne, and Gundar returned to the mountains a conquering hero. Fame, fortune, and challenges awaited him. But so did responsibility. King Bayon of the giants named Gundar their champion and ambassador to man. It was there, a winter later, that he watched as the delegation from the south came, and with it a woman named Elminilda. And a pretty lass she was. The diplomat who traveled with them, a beautiful man named Krasimir, had also come on her father's behalf to marry her off. Wulfric, of course, agreed, and they were wedded that spring, and Gundar was there to see his friend off. The giants, however, saw this change and were disconcerted. New humans expanding outwards, encroaching onto the mountains, yes, but they brought with them new ideas, new ways, new views. views of humanity's supremacy. It wasn't long before border friction, which not years prior had led to war, began anew. Nobles and merchants from the south who wanted the riches the giants had pushed and prodded, not understanding what hard-fought peace they endangered. Gundar dealt with these disputes with Wulfric easily at first. But by the third summit, Gundar recognized fewer and fewer faces. New ones, darker ones. Ones like the beautiful Elminilda took their place. And as the king's council changed, so did the king. Where once Wulfric was gregarious, welcoming, he soon became stoic, reserved, calculating. Gundar was concerned, especially about the new voices whispering in Wulfric's ear, but the king simply said he merely had growing up to do. Still, Wulfric did not forget what he'd fought so hard for, and neither did King Bjorn, though he found dissent even among his own ranks. At the insistence of many of the elder Jarls, Bjorn appointed new faces to the delegation, primarily that of the great warrior Wodenaz. He and others would accompany Gundar into the city. Perhaps this was a poor move, as many humans treated the detachment of 5 heavily armed giants with suspicion. And Wodenaz was not subtle in his hatred of mankind. Indeed, these talks were almost scuttled by Wodenaz's words and deeds. Gundar's friendship, however, carried the day, and the human lords won their limited rights to the minerals of the mountains. Wodenaz, however, was unsatisfied and told Wulfric and his council that these agreements were temporary, and until King Bjorn agreed to them that they should be treated no more seriously than a handshake. Krasimir countered skillfully, suggesting further talks. Wodenaz was enraged by this, but Wulfric took this as an opportunity for a man to meet in the halls of the giants, a thing never done before, nor even suggested. The nobles of man seemed less than thrilled, but as Krasimir and Wulfric smiled, and Gundar felt the tension ease, they agreed. Even Wodenaz could not be dissuaded, as doing so would put him in the vast minority. He acceded. A few days later, a delegation of nobles and diplomats crossed the bridge into the great door of the Giants' halls, and were greeted by King Bjorn and his council of Jarls. The Giants did their best to remain cordial, but it was obvious older warriors, those who were in agreement with Wodenaz, treated them as unwanted houseguests. But Bjorn insisted that their hospitality would not be infringed for the shame it would bring upon them. Weapons were surrendered and lodging was provided. And that night, man was entertained for the first time by the skalds and musicians of the giants. Bjorn enjoyed this and invited a diplomat to tell a story, so as to share something with the giants in return. One did, telling the story of a man hunting a dragon, a common tale. Even this I know. I believe in this tale, he told that there was something about reining and saddling it. Wodenaz insulted the diplomat, saying it was in mankind's way to try and dominate everything they could get their hands upon. The diplomat, a noble who was at Wulfric's court previously, retorted that the giants would kill and subjugate just as much as man, and that their tales were no less violent. That, even I know is true. But tell a giant like Wodenaz that. They actually almost came to blows, embarrassing Bjorn before his court. Gundar stepped in for Bjorn, shouting and using the Berserker's Bane to silence the room. He then proclaimed that such behavior was unbecoming of both man and giant, and perhaps a night's rest would let them clear their heads. But the drink has not. Bjorn agreed, nodding firmly. The talks proceeded poorly, with both man and giant trying to one-up the other in crassness. Bjorn diffused it every time. Gundar separated the two and more than once almost came to a duel with Wodenaz before the other giant backed down. He knew better than to cross axes with a sword like the Bane. He was a miserable cur, but no fool. But it became obvious, even to Gundar, that this could not improve. Not without something being done. He counseled Bayon, who began to chafe at both Wodenaz's faction and the human delegation. He wanted it over with and wanted to agree that whatever seemed reasonable in a temporary agreement just to end it. Gundar couldn't help but agree. The announcement was made over dinner, and there was rage from both sides. Wodenaz did not wish to surrender anything at all, and the humans felt duped. Played, for they had been deceived, as a mere third of the treaties would be recognized for a period of time no longer than 3 months. Bayon told them that these talks had not progressed and that he would resume them some other time. Wodenaz claimed that they were making a dire mistake. The leader of the human delegation told them that they did not know if they could trust the giants to honor anything they've said. One final feast was held in honor of these ground-breaking talks all the same. Wodenaz told him after the boar was cut that these humans would take them for all he had, before charging from the room with his retinue. Bayon spoke to Gundar, asking him to depart for Wulfric's court to smooth over what was to come, and Gundar agreed. The following morning, as Gundar entered the court, tired from travel and exhausted from the meeting, he could not have known what had happened. Nor even if he was there could he have been able to stop it. Wulfric and his council, sans those in the mountains, met with Gundar, and the two old friends shared their exhaustion in politics, though Wulfric took it better than Gundar ever could. A wolf and a bear. One always was better at leading packs. Soon guards came streaming into the hall, a basket of decapitated heads between them. That of every single diplomat and noble sent on the mission.
What did they do in response?
And let's just say that it didn't really go upwards from there. For a note read, "You have killed our king by fell magic and underhanded tactics, so shall we not rest until the scales are balanced." Wulfric, seeing the note, was enraged, and Gundar proclaimed his innocence. Krasimir, using his magic to make the heads speak, confirmed what both already suspected. Bayon had not awoken that morning, and was found by his attendants with a human-sized sword in his chest. Wodenaz ascended to the throne, and his first order was to put every human to the sword in retaliation and to declare war. Krasimir then allowed them to rest, and Wulfric, enraged and offended, believing Gundar had abused their friendship in an attempt to manipulate him, had him imprisoned. Gundar surrendered, knowing he could not fight his way out of a hostile city with an army much larger than any a human kingdom had ever amassed around him, and the city walls and all the siege equipment mounted upon them. And so from that prison he watched as Wulfric mustered his armies, and with the hammer in his hands, brother to his own sword now parted from him, marched on the giant's mountain. Gundar did not sit idle, nor could a simple prison contain him. He rended his way out and went to the great hall to retrieve his sword. But he found it guarded by Krasimir and his cabal of southern wizards. A great battle ensued, as Krasimir proclaimed his feat of guile and magical prowess as the giant weaved between the pillars. It was only as he neared the throne that Krasimir realized his mistake, and the roof collapsed in on them. Gundar retrieved the sword and fled. He was pursued through the city by battle mages and trained knights alike, being forced towards the sea and ultimately jumping into it from the high wall. When he finally emerged, he rushed to get ahead of the army, and it was only by the grace of the gods did he outpace it, entering through a secret door in the mountainside so as to avoid the bridge into the hall's entrance. There he found the giants prepared for war and begged Wodenaz not to do this, warned them of the great army marching towards them, but he was not heeded, and was struck by the new king as Wodenaz led his own army afield. He cried one last warning that it was not the men he knew that they fought, but something much more dangerous. Few warriors returned a day later, and Wodenos was not among them. With a battered crown in hand, Wodenos' lieutenant gave it to Gundar and asked him to lead those who remained. Gundar made the hard choice to abandon the mountains. He and a few warriors would remain behind in one last-ditch effort, as the rest fled through that passage. The army arrived that evening, and Gundar and Wulfric traded barbs and pleas. Though Wulfric could not be convinced, his rage had consumed him. His betrayal complete now that Gundar had escaped and almost killed his chancellor and their greatest mages. Gundar warned Wulfric that if he stepped foot in the halls, if he claimed the mountains out of greed, it would destroy his kingdom. When Wulfric pushed forward, Gundar collapsed the statues outside the doors and took the warriors to retreat. They sealed the passage behind them, and from the bottom of the mountain watched as the army cleared the bridge and entered. The top of the mountainside shook and plummeted into the encampment. With that final act of defiance, the kingdom of the giants was destroyed. What little remained, that is, what he knew that Wulfric and his advisors had survived. He knew this fight had just begun, and he swore before the gods he would have his revenge on those who caused this, on the humans who abused what they had, their hearts never satisfied. And in that moment, the bear and the wolf stood ready to rip out the others' throats. And thus began the descent. I don't recall much of the third part, but it involves the ripping down of the city's walls, the mass murder of most everyone in. I remember a tale, a part of it, about striking a deal with some monstrous witch in the swamps for even greater magical powers to combat the human mages that had taken up residence among them. In the end, both of them died. One killed by the other. And ultimately, no one succeeded. Both kingdoms were left in ruin. The artifacts that would forged to bring down a fell king lost. Where, I don't know. Truth be told, I doubt the veracity of the story entirely. Parts of it I assume are true, but not all of them. Ultimately, the moral of the story is that, well, from the giant's point of view, that man will never be satisfied with anything. That no peace with them is permanent. And whether it's by magic or by death, eventually there will be another wave of them coming along to take what others had.
Like an infestation.
As many of the giants would say, yes. The giant kind of looks up at the buildings around him contemplatively. Over the walls, you can hear the cries of, like, the cheering crowds. Even in a city of, like, 20,000, this is a pretty decent-sized city, and however long ago this tale might have taken place, this might have been the largest city on the continent. So, to see something like this and know that it's not even the largest city owned by man, in a way, he kind of looks like a trapped animal, kind of battered in a way. He returns to drinking after that.
Don't you ever get tired of the inside of these walls?
The way I look at it is I've got two options. I can return to the mountains and hope that my own kin doesn't try to kill me as traitors, or try to drag me before what courts there still exist left, of which there are not many. Or I could continue among man and make a lot of money, and he kind of like leans back against the wall and says, and dance for them like poodles.
What use does a frost giant like you have for money?
It makes comfort, especially in my advanced age. Most giants don't live past 200, save for the greatest warriors or those of the most tactful disposition. I am neither.
Seems as though you found your niche.
There is something to be said for being resourceful.
I think that's the part that a lot of giants don't understand, whether among the frost giants, the fire, those who live in the caves or in the sky, is that our numbers almost seem fixed, whereas man, certainly I could crush a contingent under my hammer, and it just seems like there's always more of them. What use is fighting something like that when you can kill 100, 1,000, 10, and they just keep coming back? Maybe not immediately, maybe not in a winter or two, but eventually. And it's always been strange, in my opinion. Humans don't live long. A century, maybe, if they're lucky. And yet their memory seems to keep them coming back to old wounds. Things that haven't happened in 1,000 years. Things that most giants wouldn't even bother remembering. There's a paradox. These people.
I've found that humans will dig up any old excuse to further their own goals.
This is true. That said, giants aren't that much better. We war among ourselves and over land, over marriage rights, over petty insults, to be honest. Most of us don't fight to the death. What point is that? But when it happens, it is usually quite violent and vicious. He kind of looks around to all of you, and especially like the ones who are not really among the accepted races, so primarily the Kitsune and the Catfolk and the Draken, and says, look at you people. You've managed to make it in a society like this. Maybe not the way you wanted, maybe not entirely whole, maybe not entirely happy. I think at some point in life you have to acknowledge that things aren't always going to be the way that you want them to, and to instead try to make it as best as you can. Pick your battles. Take the ones you think you can win. Put off ones you think you can't until you can come back and win. There's always been a strain of honor among giants, certainly, but humans, dwarves, even elves, where they will throw themselves into the slaughter over some misguided notion of respect or preserved honor or the defense of the respect of their people.
I agree with that, and that's why I found it particularly interesting when you said that you thought humans held such long memories over things that frost giants wouldn't even care about. But it seems as though they forget the lessons that their societies have learned. Not to squabble over honor, not to break the bonds they've had with other nations, not to eat each other alive.
It is a curious thing, the effect that stories have on many humans. It is, they live through them and through their ancestors in a way that few other races do.
It doesn't help that some of them don't exactly write a whole bunch of things down.
It doesn't help that some of them will just lie in their stories.
That is also true. The
I
giants
don't know if
have
it's
a oral
perchance.
history. Why write
I
anything
wouldn't-
down when you can tell a story and sing?
I don't know that humans write things down any less than the other races, but they live such short lives.
I do not know if I would say that it is lying that the humans do. It is the way of stories through generations. They change, they alter. It is not lying, it is simply a difference that happens naturally over time.
Call it what you like.
Well,
They can often be altered to change the meaning as someone would dictate in order to fuel their agenda.
I have found that to be a common thread.
well,
That man is a human apologist.
think about the story that I just told. What do you think happened to King Bayon?
I'm sure nothing good.
He probably died.
Well, most certainly.
As will we all eventually.
Well, it does happen to 99% of us.
Hmm.
I meant more
And those-
along the lines of who did it.
Probably
Just-
another relative of his.
This is out of character,
Isn't
but
it?
there were a lot of names in the story, so I just want to make sure I got this correct. King Bayon was the original king of the giants who was killed by the human-sized sword.
Yep.
Mhm.
Wanted to make sure I'm remembering names correctly.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I think I may have gotten them confused.
If I may be blunt, it's not exactly a huge secret that giants also are capable of casting shape-changing magic, so the murder weapon is hardly well, it doesn't exactly eliminate all doubt. In fact, it's something that one could say is very easy to plant.
It sounded to me that it may have not been humans that killed him. Just because it was a human sword doesn't mean that it was humans. Could have just been used as a convenient excuse.
We all wield human weapons, even though we are not human ourselves, after all.
Mind
We do have allies.
It's hard to say who it might have been, but well,
Perhaps
perfectly
that
honest.
is the way of stories. Perhaps it was not actually as it appears in the story. Perhaps it was something else, but it makes the story better. Is it not? It's a better
Well-
tale to have it this way.
It is quite interesting because that is one of the parts of the stories I change. The story as the giants tell it is that Wodenaz had marched off with his retinue and gotten drunk. Woke up the following morning in the snow. So that most likely it was not him or his who killed Theon, but a warrior among the diplomats and nobles. The
Mm.
humans, and I've heard this story told, claim that one was simply killed, his weapons taken, and a sword stuck into Bayon's chest as a false flag. Who knows? The story doesn't really elaborate one way or the other. Gundar wasn't there, and who could say? In the end,
Yep.
would it matter?
it doesn't.
In
There
the
were
end,
factions on both sides that wanted the war, regardless of who had the motive.
mm,
Perhaps that was simply the easiest way of doing it, and in a sense, they were working together in a stronger way than they might have normally liked to say.
that is
I-
more
I
or less
don't
my
quite
point. Mhm.
Props to everyone
It
for
was-
talking about false flag events without bringing up real world events.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, we did it. Well, I mean, like they said, Deus Ex was released in 2000, so
So did you
Talks
guys
about
ever hear
a lot of
about the
things.
CIA?
I heard that the
And so-
CIA knew the Matrix movie was gonna come out, but they still let it happen.
They knew the sequel would suck, and they let it go forward anyways.
The Matrix should have been a standalone movie, but they wanted to ruin its reputation so no one would take stock in its philosophical insights. They ruined it. They turned it into cheap Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is a government plant.
I couldn't
Don't you
tell.
say that about Keanu. He's 100 wholesome big chungus. He is in Cyberpunk 2077, my favorite video game by CD Projekt Red, the makers of Witcher 3.
I
Yeah,
remember a
represent
lot.
Poland.
I
There you
remember a good amount about the first Matrix. I don't remember fucking anything other than that weird semi-orgy scene about the second and third.
I just straight up didn't watch the sequels to The Matrix because I knew they were bad and I knew they weren't gonna hold up. And I was like, why
Second
bother?
one's passable. The third one's the one that's real bad.
Yeah,
Well, they made
third
them
one
2 and 3 at the
was
same
fan.
time.
They were,
Oh,
but
yeah, that's right. It was like a Kill Bill kind of situation, wasn't it?
it was, yeah.
Where they had the more stuff done, but not quite everything that was in 3, and then they were like, you know what? Let's just make 2 movies.
Kinda, yeah.
Call it all 3 right here.
Speaking
Screw
of
that way.
movies that are overly long, what's that new sci-fi movie on Netflix? Rogue Planet or something?
Oh, I actually watched this. It
what did-
was just a glorified Star Wars ripoff.
Well, anyways, it was directed by the guy who did the DC movie, Justice League, Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
And they're giving him his own cut of Rebel Moon. That's what it is, Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
They're giving him his own cut of Rebel Moon because he could make it better. And I'm sorry, Zack Snyder, but 1, you make mediocre movies that fit within a normal time frame, and 2, not everyone you should not. If you need 4.5 hours to tell your story, you should ask for that up front. And I'm sure he does, and that's why he gets the cut he does. But
Zack
Make
Snyder, if you're watching this, fuck you.
yeah,
That actually makes a lot
We
of
don't
sense
want-
when you say it like that, because honestly, most of Rebel Moon was just gathering the party. That was the movie.
Yeah,
you son of a
We
bitch.
don't-
I'm in.
we don't want to work with
yeah,
authors.
literally.
We're enough for us. So leave us to
anyone
our
who
principles.
Oof.
anyone who's a fan of Zack Snyder, really, you should be fans of us instead, because everything we do is so much better than Zack Snyder. That's why
It's
we
true,
have
and it's long form content.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why we have multi-billion-dollar Hollywood contracts on our plates every day, just like Zack Snyder does.
But yeah. That's why this episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. Make sure
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You know, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can use it below to subscribe to us, even though we are not. We actually are not
not
popular enough
affiliated.
yet. We're not affiliated, so yeah, I'm actually lying to you.
You know, that's why we have to put little comments in the hidden margins of the stream that say like, comment, subscribe. It's subliminal messaging.
Mhm.
Precisely.
Anyway, we may have gotten distracted.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
We've had-
no. Yeah.
I do appreciate Gurgamesh's story about this Zack Snyder fellow. He sounds like
A real asshole.
quite an interesting fictional character.
Zacchaeus Schneider, yes.
It's nice we went from
I love that our viewer count went up like a lot, like as we were fucking telling Zack Snyder to fuck himself.
That's right.
I didn't say that.
People were like, "Sir, you need to see this."
Somebody fucking passed it on. Like Al Gore.
Mhm.
Al Gore learning that he sold one of his books.
This is
they're
top
just
tier
they're just
content.
really petty Hollywood elites who all tuned in to specifically make sure they know our faces and can blacklist every single one of us
Hollywood's
for the
watching.
indefinite future.
These fucking assholes. They're not doing a D&D stream. They're telling off our cash cows.
I don't know that I
Make
would call
it- they
Zack
all-
Snyder a cash cow.
They all report and demonetize us. And they're like, this table talk is not kosher. Okay, I don't believe this is organically what your group decided to talk about. All right,
I mean, if anything, the CIA is going to be the one that canceled us for dissing the Matrix 2
that's
and 3.
right. They couldn't have the
Anyways.
public lose faith in the CIA. That would be
Oh
Part of
bad.
the
yeah,
CIA.
no. They'll lose faith now. Yeah. Oh,
Well.
anyways.
Ugh.
Did we have other stuff we wanted to discuss in the?
Oh, Yeah, one
The
thing.
drain
As long as we're
conversation.
talking about CIA and false flag events, on our last group game night, we debated how bad the year 2001 was, and it went from all the way here just to wasn't that bad.
It-
I mean, the first half of the year was fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe the first 2/3.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's-
saying
you know,
9/11 was a false
Kind
flag
of
event,
collapsed after that.
but it was very convenient.
Yep. Anyway,
Anyways,
well,
Anyways,
Comment down below what you think the next false flag event will be.
oh no.
oh no.
yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe, and post your manifestos down below.
We'll publish them for you.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
love
we've
to
got
read
connections.
I will not. I don't think my publisher would appreciate me forwarding that shit to him.
them.
No, we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
But either
We'll make
way,
it happen.
Alfred kind of nods and just comes to the conclusion of that is the point. Stories can be tools and not always are accurate. People are kind of the same no matter the shape and the size. You ask me why I do what I do here? To be honest, because it's more comfortable. I go into a arena, and when they tell me to take a dive, I take a dive, and I get paid. They want me to fight it out, I fight it out, and I kill generally whoever it is I'm up against.
Wait, they told you to take a dive against us?
Not the people running it. Very strong man with money. There were some problems with that, however. I don't think I really got along to the point where it was going to happen, and the fight sort of ended itself on its own.
it was
Appreciate the
quite a number
compliment.
that you were up against. Oh,
It
Well,
was.
that is also what I'm a little incensed by. I was told at most I would be fighting 4 or 5.
You should demand extra compensation.
Oh, I already did. And they paid.
How respectful of them.
Yes. A little spell older gentleman, miserable looking face. I want to say that a lot of humans look alike, and in a way that's true. Not this man.
Racist.
did you happen to ask his name?
No, but I recognized him as being someone very important. Once you've lived a long enough time, you can tell who people are just by the way they hold themselves, the way they talk. And those who are very accustomed to authority can't really hide that.
Right.
So
It does seem. Oh.
You know, I hear that you can also tell how somebody is based on the shape of their skull.
Really? Is it like if your hand is like bigger than your skull?
No.
That sort of
See,
thing?
what you do is
Yes.
you measure the skull, and you can tell somebody's personality traits by that measuring.
Oh, is this like a
Just-
eugenics reference?
Yeah.
Slightly
See-
different. It's the precursor to eugenics.
Yeah.
Phrenology, I think.
Yeah,
Which is a thing in Pathfinder, by the way.
Yes.
of course it is.
Rugamesh heads to the library.
Study
Phrenology
phrenology.
exists, except it's all, are you an elf or are you not an elf?
Here, let me measure your skull, and I'll tell you how smart you are. Can't be very smart if you let Garugamesh measure your skull.
You can tell the adeptness of the elf for magic by the how big these lumps are at the back of the skull.
But I did remember you asking me about the weapons which you've come into the possession of. I did remember its twin. Like I said,
Yes.
the Berserker's Bane, a great sword, giant-sized bear's face along the handle on the crossbit. Stories go, Gundar took it into battle against Wulfric in the city, and that is the last I heard of it. Whatever happened to it and its twin, the stories do not sell.
So I was curious about that one. It's also
at least,
curious.
you know. Sorry.
I am curious of its twin now.
Yes, I don't think we'll have any easy time locating that, should we have been interested in doing so.
Perhaps
Did,
the story itself could, well, yeah, I don't know the words for this. Perhaps the sword knows, or has an idea.
I presume you mean Fenrir the Warhammer.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't have much memory of any time before.
I
Now,
think if I knew, I would say something by now.
yes.
Mhm. Perhaps the
I-
memories will come back in time.
I think that's a problem for another time. I am somewhat curious about something you mentioned. You said that the liaison at the Giant's Keep, some of the humans mentioned a story about confrontation with a dragon.
Yes.
It seemed similar to something, though not exactly. Are you familiar with the story of Aethric? It's a distinctly human story, but
Oh my gods, even certain stories have reached our people from yours, and that is by far the most popular. I have heard that story more times in my 221 years than I care to relate.
What's your favorite part?
how about we not worry about the finer details? It's just trying to make the connection in my head. It seemed similar, but with a different outcome. Or
The,
perhaps I'm just conflating similar events.
the story that I remember being told, that was told at that dinner, had something to do with not killing a dragon, but subjugating it, saddling it and moving it away to rescue someone, turning the dragon into a weapon of sorts. Because, well, when it comes to man, they only kill what they can't use. Mustn't have been a very smart or very strong dragon, in my opinion.
I do feel as though relinquishing oneself to slavery is sort of, well, many people would rather fight to the death. Even many kobolds who probably would at least live a lot longer under a yoke. And out of game, do people know about the rules for subjugating dragons in AD&D?
No, please educate us.
So real quick, you can decide to beat up a dragon instead of actually fighting it, and then it has a chance to surrender each round relative to the amount of HP you've already beaten off of it. So it's just a better way to do it, and then the dragon will apparently be totally cool with just leading you to its treasure hoard. So that was what brought to mind, and I couldn't help but be like, oh my god. As I just imagine like a dragon coming up trying to intimidate the party, getting smacked in the nose while it's being like, oh, I'm sorry, please take my treasure, please, just let me live.
Either that, or I would suspect it was subjugated using the kind of magic that the mages who came up from the south wielded.
Oh, right. What kind would that be again?
You're asking me. Humans have always had a strange way when it came to the arcane, probably picked up from their elven cousins. The giants preferred keeping mostly to natural magic, the elements. There are some mages amongst our people, but not many. And the ones that do exist, if you meet one, I would run.
Are they that
Right.
dangerous?
Giants have a natural distrust of that kind of thing, most likely stemming from this old story. To have a giant who is not only strong and capable enough to wield that kind of magic, but then to survive the misery and abuse from their peers is a strong giant indeed.
Hmm. Have you ever met a mage giant personally?
No. I have heard stories, but no, I've never seen one in person.
I have to wonder if they exist.
If they
Still.
do, they most likely isolate themselves at the top of the tallest mountains, much like dragons like to do.
Do you remember what happened to the giants after fleeing the mountain?
They retreated out of the mountains into a fetid swamp on the other side, trying to make for another set of mountains, hoping to look for someplace else to simply live. The story goes that they didn't find it, that they moved through the swamps for months, years even, and the swamp just continued and continued and continued. Before they came across the home of a... well, she looked like a human, but I don't think she was. Woman lived in a house up on chicken legs. A witch of some kind, extremely powerful. Granted them the strength or the knowledge necessary to enact revenge on their foes. From what I
Would that-
recall, it didn't turn out well for them in the end.
Would the description of a house on chicken legs ring any bells for me? Just like from things I've read.
Yeah, give me a knowledge, give me Arcana, or, God, what would this fall into? I kind of wish there was like a knowledge like culture or something like that a lot of this stuff could fall into.
Mm-hmm.
Local's supposed to usually be culture, but you could also do history too. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, either Arcana or local. History, like, I can kind of see it making
Perfect.
sense, but...
Oh, that is not supposed to be like that.
It kind of depends on what they're known for. If they like blew up a whole nation and you're from where that was, might be good.
It's
That-
It hasn't been part of our history.
it's
Wait.
it's like Baba Yaga or something out of
Baba
character.
That's-
Yaga, yeah.
I was gonna ask about Baba Yaga, but I didn't know if they were exactly
Powerful
canon.
witch lives in a cottage up on stilts, chicken legs. Yeah, it's Baba Yaga.
Okay.
Yes, does exist in this setting, and will fucking kill anything that comes into her path. Because that's
Good to
just
know.
how she be. That's just how she do. But yeah, Daxius with that roll,
I've been muted for a while, my bad.
you have been muted for a while.
Yeah.
Sven with your roll and with your first roll, and Vic with your roll, you're able to dredge that up. It's not an insanely like esoteric story. It's one of those stories that there's a bunch of different like interpretations or like details to it that you can't really like what's true versus what isn't. But the one constant among them seems to be the house on chicken legs.
The stories of her always gave me the creeps when I was younger. And Daxis just shivers.
Mm.
It was always told to me as a cautionary tale to beware of the swamp and the deep forests.
It is something that is passed down in our culture as well, that wise women, or as humans like to refer to them, hags, are not to be trusted. Even when they pretend to help you, they are helping themselves.
That is why the church forbids dealing with her, at least to us. But yes,
Well, if you are desperate or foolish enough to treat with a hag,
Oh,
hopefully your
fuck
soul,
no.
hopefully your soul crosses over into the afterlife peacefully.
If you're fucking lucky. Jesus, what fucking moron would ever deal with a hag?
Many.
There are people who are truly desperate and have no other options.
Well, they're fucking
Well.
stupid if that's what they resort to. I'm sorry, someone had to say it.
Perhaps they
that's-
are, but eh, perhaps you've never been truly as desperate as some people.
Quite a number can become-
desperation can cloud the mind, and in the moment it can seem like anything is better than your current situation.
I was going to say the opposite is true. Many can become victims of their own success, especially once certain laws of reality become mutable. Overconfidence can be a slow and insidious killer. Something to be feared.
Hmm.
So too can depression and fear.
That as well. A clear mind can be a more ready ally than the sharpest blade.
Okay.
I apologize. I suppose.
I find it is best not to judge the person who is in these desperate situations, but to feel bad that they were in such a situation to begin with.
No, it's not that I don't
Yes.
feel bad for them. I've been in my own share of shit.
Were
It
you
just
burned by a
feels
hag?
dumb. No, I wasn't. What?
I can't
Birthed
say I've
by a
encountered
hag?
anyone.
Burned.
Oh, burned. No.
Right.
I've just read enough and have become familiar enough with all the stories of hags and jinns and such to just know not to be a fucking idiot. I will call them a fucking idiot despite their problems. And
I-
deal with these creatures who want nothing more than your suffering at the end of the day.
Maybe
To make
they're
a
just
long story short.
misunderstood.
Oh,
I read
if
it.
you want to go talk with a hag and talk about their feelings and what happened with their long lost daughter, then good luck.
Well, I read a
I've-
story about a boy who befriended the djinn and got him magical powers. There's no reason why that couldn't happen to you.
Yeah,
Was
Robin
this like a
Williams said it.
children's tale?
Of course.
It is a possibility that they can wear many different faces. As such, oftentimes it's difficult to attribute exactly what happened to them. But the one time that I did hear of a purported curse by that woman being broken, it was by one of the upper echelon of my faith, and after apparently a week or so. Unfortunately, the victim did not survive the removal of the curse, as it had already done its damage.
Sounds about right. Still shitty.
Yes. I believe the prior issue was some sort of pneumonia. Anyway,
Doesn't sound like a favorable outcome for the Giants, regardless.
No, but perhaps there was no real chance at having a favorable outcome. Perhaps in the end they were both fated to kill one another. I think that was part of the purpose of the stories, is that in pieces, each story seems to have a much different outcome, but when you look at it from the long perspective, it's a cycle, in a way. Perhaps, ultimately, they were on a collision course, and it was a question of now or later. And perhaps there's a lesson in there I'm forgetting. Don't trust hags is a rather good one. And that even great friendships can be fleeting. And, well, people are just people. They can be influenced, they can be changed. When people's lives change, so do they. And differences can often lead one another to bloodshed, for no other reason than for the sake of differences.
I think many of our differences are sowed to create division, so that way we may be pitted against one another. Because look at us. We are, for lack of a better term, a diverse group of warriors, all seeking our own mission, but we have come to work together as one.
Geeks takes geeks. Which is kobold for claw sharpens claw.
What is your mission, by the way, Guru Gamesh?
What every dwarf wants. Power, money, the honor to rule.
Are you
I
sure
left
you're
my
not
clan.
human?
I think I've got a little bit of human in me. I've dealt with dark forces in the past that some dwarves seem to be unsusceptible to.
Well, really, because this is the first you're mentioning of this, and where's my potion of protection from evil? You need one of these? Here.
No,
and
no.
Give it to the homunculus. He looks like he's ready to toss it at you.
As many of you know, I am very good at heart. I would never think of throwing any of you into the fire, or backstabbing you, or taking your possessions while you're not looking, or or cheating you, or sacrificing you for my own personal gain at all.
More than once or twice a day, anyway.
I never mean to cause any trouble. Trouble just always finds me.
The homunculus lowers the vial, and there's like a look of like almost disappointment on Daxius's face.
Protection from neutral, maybe?
Do I need to roll
protection
bluff
for me
or...
specifically?
If you think that's something you need to roll, considering the circumstances, that is very much up to you.
Guru Gamesh at least thinks he's being honest.
Very well.
If it's an easy to support lie, just give a bonus on the roll, I believe.
Oh no, it's not a lie. I've actually had Guru Gamesh's backstory somewhat fleshed out for a while now. It just doesn't come up very much.
One of these days,
Even making stuff all on the fly is perfectly valid.
Nah.
One of these days we'll learn the reason why you left your clan, but if today is not that day, then fair enough.
Do it at your own pace.
Right. Out of character, though. No, I'm not gonna spoil anything.
It'll come up more, I guess, sooner than you think.
I figured there's literally a dwarven skyhold right above us, and it seemed like there were certain things pushing us in that direction. Not to metagame, but I figured after we go down south, we might be headed up there in terms of plot-wise, but of course Gray doesn't know that I know that, so...
Mm-hmm. He thinks he knows what I have in plan, and you're in store for him.
No, I do not. I have no idea what's going on at all times. There's always a million different plot threads going on, which is nice because we get to choose which ones to follow. So, it's all up to the party, really.
after that, unless you guys have like any explicit questions, stuff that he kind of tells you is,
Right.
yeah.
I suppose we should be moving on. I apologize, but I did recall some of us were planning on going to the masquerade later, and well, I don't want to be overly. I feel as though it's we want to be considerate of your time as well, and well, I did think it was rather great to try to cross swords with you in the arena anyway.
Well, now you can tell other people that you've spoken to a giant.
Hold on. I want to be able to tell people that I've arm wrestled with a giant.
Oh my god.
Your obsession with arm wrestling, Grugamesh, is honestly it's at a point where you should seek help.
It's a
You know,
coping
I
mechanism.
did seek help, and I believe the doctor said it was something called like Flanderization, but I'm not really sure what that meant.
Stupid, sexy dwarf.
Anyways, I'm rolling strength. You can take the bait or not. Oof.
I don't think that's nearly
I'm not even
enough.
rolling.
You're not.
Because I don't need to.
Hey, it wouldn't be high enough.
So,
That's probably his modifier.
yeah, you guys set up like over a like.
Upset.
Well, it's not a table. It's like a decorative wall, like where it's like an open low wall, and then there's a pillar on the one side that goes up to the arch. So you set up over
Right.
that, and he puts his arm across, and you put yours, and you start pushing, and you start pushing, and then you stand up and start pushing with both hands, and it doesn't move.
You're pretty strong, my friend. If you're looking for extra work, come see me. I have someone I'd like some help taking down.
My
I'm
god.
sure
My god.
I'm sure he knows exactly who I'm talking about because he's not an idiot.
Picks up Gurgamesh and slay.
Space Jam theme starts playing. Come on and slam.
Oh, well, I think we'll probably leave you to enjoy the rest of your night, but just out of curiosity, and if you don't wish to answer, this is totally fine. Is it safe to assume that it was Siegfried Ash that paid you to take the dive?
Yes, I believe that was his name. Genial man, deep pockets. Strangely
So
enough,
it'd be
he still got what he wanted in the end, even if he didn't get it the way he thought he was.
What do you think he wanted?
Well, he wanted the actual dive to take place, but, well, when there's that many people against one individual, the odds were skewed in his favor.
Seems he put a little extra money in your pocket for nothing.
Pretty much, yes. He didn't need to do anything in the end, but then again, how could he have known how the first rounds would have gone?
No, I'm just not particularly surprised to see his dealings like this. In just about everything.
Well, nice to know that he was betting on us to win.
I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
In the short term, he was anyway.
Or one of the other two teams.
Hell yeah. Well, Siegfried Ash is a smart man. He would have bet on the best team to win, which is us.
He did have, well, he was familiar with our skill set.
It is disappointing to know about the interference, but
Honestly, I would have assumed you put the money on the prone ones.
Again?
yeah, sorry.
You just cut out really bad.
I was also talking at the same time, so I was like, oh, I couldn't hear you anyway.
Mm.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. So is that about it for this scene?
I actually lag behind a little bit. I would just like pretend like I'm packing some things in my backpack, like as they're all like walking away, and I just, for a brief
Also, the
moment.
backpack has still got a hole in it.
Oh yeah, fuck! I still have to
You're putting
buy a
stuff
new
in.
backpack.
Putting stuff in, it's falling out immediately, and you're just got an infinite pile of stuff.
Yeah.
In the backpack.
How does this keep happening?
A bag of unholding.
You know, I'm sure Furnace could probably sew that up for you. He's good at making gear.
It's just a belt.
I'll be sure to ask him. Don't wait up for me. I'll just make a temporary fix for this, and then I'll ask Phoenix.
Garugamesh puts on the hat of disguise, turns into Daxius, and goes, "Hey guys, where's Garugamesh?"
Even though you're not even close to his height or his weight.
I'm pretty close to
Actually-
that. Yeah, it gives me a foot in height, or it can make me a foot taller or shorter.
I am pretty short, so he's
Yeah.
pretty close, actually.
I thought you were 5'2", aren't you?
5'3", but yes.
Okay, I'm.
Oh no, yeah,
4'5".
5'2". I was wrong.
I never forget a manlet.
Well, it doesn't
I'm-
make you as thin as him. So you look like a weirdly rotund Daxius.
Hey guys, it's me, Rotund Daxius.
Oh god, it's like a dark mirror.
I think you could adjust your height, maybe.
You can adjust your height. You can probably adjust. You can adjust your weight because it's an illusion.
Yeah.
But if somebody like tries to touch you, it would still seem like you're
Yeah, you'd still be regular proportions.
got about 8 inches of diameter.
Also,
still.
if someone tried to pat you on the head or something, it'd go through your head until it hits your actual physical head.
Or if you're shorter than you, or if you're pretending to be shorter than you are, and go to do something and like smash into your shoulder when they should be just reaching past you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Anyways.
yeah, well, I'll just pretend to just lag behind a little bit, and just for a brief moment, I'm gonna turn to the giant and ask, considering your age and wisdom and knowledge, even if the most brutal methods were put place, whatever was necessary, do you think the hearts of humans can be changed to be more accepting?
Hmm.
Or is that just a fairy tale?
I am of the opinion that many things can happen. This, however, I'm not as confident in. It would require... Well, it would require a better education for most people, and I don't see that happening. No time soon, at least. Could it happen? Maybe. I don't think all humans will magically eventually become some bastion of acceptance, or there is a poison which lies in the hearts of most humans. Perhaps that can be excised. I'm not confident. The best you can do is realize it, act accordingly, and take advantage of it.
That is deeply disappointing. Thank you. And without another word, I'll turn and leave.
What is with your shadow?
I stop.
What have you been rolling in? Or playing with?
I don't know. It's for as long as I can remember, ever since I was taken from my home, it's followed me. I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Been a long time since I've seen one of your people. Well, the ones that I'm more accustomed to have white fur.
Really?
Hmm.
I have no memory of any with white fur.
Supposedly they have villages up in the mountains somewhere. They leave us alone, we leave them alone. It works.
Do you have any idea where Probably not, given my kind of people and who they are, but any inclination of where one would find them?
I believe I saw them somewhere in the spine of the world as I was traveling from Falderon down here into the Empire.
That is helpful. Very helpful. Thank you.
Well, good night to you all.
Take care.
Konnichiwa.
I'll give a little small, respectful bow before I leave.
Thank you.
Okay. Would we all like to take a little bit of a break?
Sure.
Take our
Yeah,
mid-session
sure.
break?
Yes,
Probably
please.
Meet up in about 10 minutes. All right.
All right.
We'll see
Sounds
you
good.
then.
And
See y'all later.
konnichiwa to the viewers.
We still got like an hour left. We'll be fine.
Yep. All right, we're back. So, you guys have finally left Lightford, excuse me. You made your way out of the Red Temple. I believe you're all going for the Palace on Wallenstone.
Mm-hmm. At least, are we all? We're all going.
Do you think you need me? Because I'm gonna be honest. A party with a bunch of rich folks sounds like the most boring time in the world to me.
You're probably right, but again, I'm not there to have fun. Well, I'm gonna have fun.
I guess
It
if
could
we're
be
all
fun.
going...
We could make some connections. We could drink. We could have fun.
Drinking is up my alley. I'm in for drinking.
It's one of those noble parties where you're supposed to get really trashed and say embarrassing things in public. And Finn and I were out shopping for masks, and we were told that we were famous. So I'm sure they would enjoy your presence.
I'm surprised that you didn't know we were famous.
I mean...
I didn't think...
After our time in the Gauntlet, it makes sense, but... I don't know. I'll stick around. I'll make my way inside, but I won't be mingling.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, Vic's just heading back to the chapter house.
Okay. Well. Those of you who are going to the manor house, you find the streets are pretty much just as busy as you went in. It's pretty late now. You got maybe an hour or so to kill before the barrel carry, and then.
How do we kill an hour? Anyone have any ideas?
I'm reading.
Well, you can put together a magic item.
I mean, aren't you going to the party?
Oh.
No.
I thought this was before the hour before the party. Never mind. I misheard.
Well, it's not like they'll be like, no, it's not starting yet.
I don't know how these things work with nobles.
Okay. Well. You guys make your way out. The palace is a pretty sizable fucking estate. Like, it's bigger than Lutz's, which is, like, right within an eye shot. And there's more people kind of flocking around. You actually notice Lutz's manor seems a lot less... Doesn't seem like there's a lot going on, like, right now. Which is a bit unusual, but, well, people are busy and nobles have other people to hobnob with. So, you guys enter into the, like, crowd of people waiting to get in or just sort of waiting around. At least, no, I think, Furnick, you said you got a mask too, right?
I was actually going to use the garments of many whatever to turn my skull cap into a face mask instead. That's just sort of like ringed around the horns.
Okay, yeah. And Daxius, I'm assuming you probably just pick up something pretty quick on the street that's being sold.
I mean, I don't really have to pick up anything. I've got a Hat of Disguise. I have Dust of Illusion. I have my Oath of Anonymity. I'm perfectly fine.
Yep. Well, as long as you have something that can make a mask, that's all that really matters.
I'll just put on, like, the same attire I did for, like, the dance competition.
Okay.
Ooh, that's... Daxius, you might want to change into something new. I believe people have already seen you in that outfit. It's gonna...
It's fair. But, well, they wouldn't even let me in if they didn't know who I was.
Right. I put on the Hat of Disguise, and with the, the imp mask on, I try and do some sort of very flowy, exotic clothing to make myself appear even more ostentatious than my nobleman's clothes do.
Okay.
Oh, and to those of you that came with me, I am going to share some information. So, I think I may have told you all, I came on business here to Theodore von Wollenstone. I did my research before coming.
I've heard some interesting theories about him. Some say he's a tyrant, a cheapskate, an asshole, that he, quote unquote, bleeds people dry and cuts the hands off if they can't pay. Strange rumors, to be sure, but there are also tellings that he may be a necromancer or a cannibal. He's old money, and he reminds those sort of rumors and what we know about the folks in this town. It evokes a certain imagery, does it not? So, I've dealt with vampires before in the Lutz Manor, and I'm not saying that's this, but be on your toes and keep a lookout for anything suspicious.
I can do that.
Alright. Well, the building itself is large. It is stone, well kept, large windows, very bright, very gaudy. While the building itself is much older, the way that it's decorated gives it a new, vibrant, very youthful appearance. The demographics of the people that are waiting around the front door, it's a real mix. Obviously all very wealthy, but a mixture of young, nouveau riche, and old money. It seems to be a pretty much a mingling of the two, but as you guys enter the crowd, you notice that those two groups mostly associate with only themselves. You have to wait in line for a little bit as you get into the front and people are let in. You do notice that people mostly draw an invitation, but there is a decent amount of people who don't, who just show their faces and are let in. And as you get to the front, the butler or servant or whoever obviously lets the people in front of you go and stops and says, "Name?"
I'm Garugamesh.
Of house?
Of the Ziguratanui clan.
He looks to his list and says,
Oh, I wouldn't be on your list.
"Right." He kind of looks to the rest of you. Are you all in a group?
Let us introduce ourselves.
Yes.
We are the Gate Crashers. And I take a bow.
Right. Invitations?
Oh, Sven, talk to the man.
Oh my god, I've been muted this whole time.
Yep. Phoenix looks like he's just getting a sudden pain in his chest.
Me
Okay,
too,
I'm
buddy.
gonna preempt it. I'm gonna roll diplomacy and I'll roleplay the result.
Jesus
Hell yeah!
What's a nat 20?
It means that
Perhaps we're not on the list, but you surely know who we are. We are the Gate Crashers. We are the champions of the arena. We're the ones who discovered and explored the entire gauntlet beneath the city. Surely you know who we are. We're much more important than some of the other people who are on the list.
You get into this, and then you notice somebody appear in the doorway behind him, and your eyes are drawn to him because you know who he is. The mayor of the town turns around, looks right at you, and goes, "You've made it!" He's wearing this mask, toucan, bright as shit, really fucking ugly. He's dressed in clothes that I feel like only the insanely rich or the insane would be able to get away wearing. He kind of goes past the man standing at the door, almost kind of pushing him over, and grabs your arm and just starts babbling. The man who's with the list just kind of looks and says, "Okay," and just backs away as Mayor Rickard Adelmar leads you in.
great roll. Dude.
Rickard! I address him by first name, apparently. How's the party so far? Is it gotten off to a roaring start yet, or was it waiting for us?
Yeah. You guys get inside. Obviously, if you actually ask that, he kind of tells you that it's been pretty slow. He's seen a couple of accidents. There's a bit of drama going on, but it's all kind of garden variety shit.
Well, good thing we brought a couple of kegs to get the party started.
The ones that I think you guys all drank already. Um,
Wait, did we? Damn.
I didn't think we drank them. I wasn't drinking.
so, you guys
The
get
storm
inside. You're led through the building, which is relatively deep, and out into a central, like walled garden where there are like music is playing, people are standing around, everybody is dressed as stupidly as is physically possible. This is money at its ugliest. And it's almost like a game. Like who can dress the dumbest? Like no matter what it is, no matter how expensive it is, the uglier and brighter the better. Like, and you get that rather instantly. So, Gurgamesh, the fact that you dressed yourself up as stupidly and peacockish as possible actually works. And some people look at you saying, he's got taste.
And you all said I wasn't a noble.
Does it work that Sven's wearing his iconic armor and it's all polished? Well, not polished, but like squeaky clean.
I think you get looks, perhaps from different people for different reasons. Read that however you wish.
I want to be recognized.
Yeah. By people whose eyes are a little hungrier than perhaps you would like them to be. Depending on how you
All come round. We have Sven here, the great storyteller of the Gatecrashers. He will enthrall you with a story of his renown.
I just slowly fade into the crowd.
You just wander away from them. Nobody stops you. No one really cares.
Yeah.
Wow, this is
I am as well.
surprisingly easy.
I'm
Alright.
telling stories, I guess.
Yeah,
Come,
you
Fernex,
go
I
up.
think I see alcohol over here.
You definitely get like attention and like, especially like the nouveau riche definitely like you. Like the bourgeois assholes are the ones that actually like you. The old money couldn't seem to give a damn one way or the other, mostly because they're older and probably don't buy into a lot of that stuff. But you get a lot of attention. Well, drunk as well, but you also get people that men and women who obviously want other things as well. So you have that on your plate. Daxius, you vanish into the crowd to go drink. People leave you alone. No one really cares. People are dressed in such a way that it's not very easy to recognize anyone, and they kind of treat you the same way. Even if you look like your kitsune, people just assume it's a part of like your costume and are very impressed at how good it is.
Thanks. The fur is actually real.
Yeah.
It's
You get a
imported
younger
from
guy that like
south.
kind of reaches out to like feel it, and he's like, "Oh, that's perhaps the best I think I've felt. You have to tell me who the fairy is."
I will. Please excuse me for a moment. I need to relieve myself, and I'll just distance myself. I hate everything about this.
Vernix, what do you do?
I was going to see if I could I want to find information about who to ask about possibly finding a way into the Lutz Manor. Because there's got to be somebody here that she deals with, or who doesn't like her.
Give me a knowledge local.
I don't have knowledge local, but I did want to see if I could use that one rank in diplomacy I've had for information gathering for kind of what these people think.
All right, you can go for it. Yeah.
How do you feel about the stuff going on over there? You know, no one's saying, but of course everyone's saying. I should guidance myself if that's an option. I think this takes like an hour or something like that, so I won't be done anytime soon.
Okay. Well.
Yes.
1d4 hours, technically.
4 hours. Are we there for that long?
No, 1d4
Oh.
hours.
I think we're gonna be there until 10 o'clock, or at least I will be, when I've gotta go to the Tar Barrel Cairn. Y'all are
Okay.
welcome to come watch, but
So you go off
I'll
to do
probably
that.
watch, yeah.
Rugamesh, what do you do during this? People have gone off to flock around Sven, per usual. Daxius has vanished. You just see Fernic kind of wander off. Like, you have no idea what he's doing, leaving you alone. What are you doing?
I'm looking for.
I bring Enter with me.
He follows you. Maybe he's dressed in a little, like, fucking monkey suit, too.
He has just a little bow tie. It's my face mask is like gold. It looks really nice, and he just has a little like gold cloth bow tie. Looks kind of cheap.
Alright.
Guru Gamesh has gone in search of the master of the House Theater von Volenstone, the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Should I roll perception to try and find him, or will it be easy enough?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a
Okay.
perception. Alright. So, you have to ask around a little bit, because obviously everyone's wearing masks, and you've never seen Theodore in your fucking life. So, you wouldn't know him from Adam, unless somebody pointed him out. Somebody eventually does say, like, you kind of saw him wandering off into the back, or like he was entertaining somebody, and they say a name, and you're like, uh-huh, and like, in one ear out the other. You end up figuring out who it is. You're pointing out to a man in like a long cape, probably like vaguely 50s, obviously human, graying hair, kind of like long back. He's wearing a mask, like an owl's mask, and speaking with a couple of people. And as you're walking towards him, you see somebody who works there. You notice that the people who are like working here, like the servants, are all dressed up as well, but they all appear to share the same get, same colors, the same kind of cut, and the same mask. Like there's like one in three. It's usually cat, dog, or bird of some kind. Walks up and kind of goes like this and speaks to him, and like the Baron kind of does like one of these, like bids somebody farewell and turns to go towards somebody who is waiting at a door near the back. They go inside, so the rest of the house is around you. The largest portions of it are in the back. All the doors are open, and most of the windows are as well. So, if you go to follow, no one's going to stop.
I'm gonna roll stealth until I can figure out who that is. And I'm just going to try and walk along the periphery and listen for their conversation as I walk up towards the entrance of the door.
Okay. Yeah, they go into what appears to be a library, and like kind of like crack the door. And from inside, you hear like kind of a little bit of chatter. It seems to be constant, like it seems to be kind of innocuous. And then finally you just kind of hear like the kind of chatter stops, and it is a bit difficult over the din from the party, but since the door isn't 100% closed, like it is ajar, you're able to hear a little bit more, which is one of the voices, because you don't know one from the other, just telling him, just keep your fucking pants on. Hold yourself. It will come. Just... And then another voice, much, like, slightly younger, says, but we've been waiting for so fucking long. You're telling me... Look, there's a delegation coming up. They will handle it. Just keep the money flowing in. And keep your mouth shut. It is bad enough that we have all this other horseshit happening in this fucking city. Don't need you to add your nonsense on top of everything, okay? Yeah, but... Shh. No buts. No buts. Like, you hear a couple of steps coming towards the door, and then you hear the younger voice saying, you've always treated me like a child. And the footsteps stop, and the other voice just... Because to me you are a fucking child. You've always been a fucking child, and if it wasn't for your father dying so fucking young, you wouldn't have this title either. Do you understand me? Keep your nose clean. You're a lot more useful when you don't stick your nose in other people's business. Learn that you are an idiot and act accordingly. The footsteps like resume after like a really long pause. And coming closer and closer to the door. Rumesh, what do you do in the meantime?
I move about 10 feet away from the door, with my back 10 feet out from the door. So if they were to open the door, they would see me, but I'm going to have my back turned, and I'm going to be polishing a piece of jewelry I have on hand.
Okay. The door opens and a short man wearing a black serpent's mask comes out. Kind of reaches back and pulls the door shut behind him and walks past you. He gets pretty close and he just goes, "Excuse me," and just, goes out the door. Give me a perception.
Well, alright.
You don't get a lot of fine details. Obviously male, probably in his 50s or 60s, short, thin. From the back of his head, you see he has short cropped hair, mostly graying over. His clothes are nice, but they're not nice. They're not like the rest of, this area nice. He stands out, but not because he's ostentatious or dressed strangely. No, because he's dressed kind of utilitarian. It is nice. They're good cuts. It's obviously high quality silk. Whoever made the clothes obviously knows what the fuck they were doing. They're nice in a way that only people with an amount of taste would understand. Also, hi kitty in front of the fucking camera.
How tall is the man?
I would say maybe 5.5, maybe 5 and 8. Not big.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give a knock on the door before opening it myself, just to let him know that someone's coming in.
Yeah, you knock, and as the door opens, you just hear, "What the fuck do you want now, you asshole?" And the man wearing the owl's mask looks towards you and sees that you're not the person that just left, and he's like, "I apologize, master."
Excuse me. Would you happen to be the Baron?
He kind of turns around, kind of wipes at his face a little bit, obviously fussing at his makeup a little bit, and he is wearing makeup. At a closer range, it is very obvious. It's subtle. It's not super uncommon for men to wear makeup in this era, especially among the nobility. Dwarves generally don't go for that, but for certain occasions, there's an expectation. And once he feels like he's ready, he turns around and says, "Yes, I am Theodore von Wallenstein. How may I help you?"
I'm Garugamesh of the Gatecrashers, and I've come to pay my respects to you, sir. I don't expect my troop to be in town for much longer, and I couldn't let myself leave town without meeting you.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you. I apologize that you've come at such an inopportune moment, considering. But I'm glad that you've made it to the party. I hope you and your friends are enjoying yourself. I would recognize them, but I apologize. Names and me.
Oh, well, of course. Not everyone got to catch our performance in the arena. But I've actually come to show you something, if now is not a bad time.
Well, if it would get my mind off of other things, it is a welcome distraction.
I walk towards him and present the sapphire amulet, the one that's worth 4,000 gold pieces. And I show it to him. It's this is the finest example of my work. I'm a warrior by day, but a craftsman by night. And I particularly take great pride and pleasure
and working with the noble families of Innsbruck and every town we visit. And especially the older families, I can relate in the sense that there's a lot of false rumors and bad accusations that might get thrown about at old families just from long pent-up resentments. But I wouldn't let that stop me from working with a man such as yourself, and I wanted to come and offer my services for you.
You obviously walk over to him. So the room that you're in is indeed a library. There's a very large hearth in the center with a decorated mantelpiece and flue going up. The walls are just floor to ceiling, thick old books. It's got that smell of like an older library, of the decay of the paper and the must of leather. There are hunting trophies decorating the walls, thick pile carpetings, very well made ornate furniture that you can definitely tell is as old, if not older, than you.
I say to him, I can tell you're the kind of man who doesn't buy his furniture.
After you show him that, you don't even know if he hears anything you say. Like, he turns the necklace towards him, and he seems to be focused on the centerpiece, like the actual gem itself, and says, like, you get done saying that, and he says, my god, the clarity. Where did you source this again?
I'm afraid I can't give away my suppliers. It would put me at jeopardy to my competition. But if you're interested in the piece, you're welcome to make an offer.
Well, and he kind of looks it over, and he kind of looks around, specifically towards the mirror, and says, may I?
Of course. It would look fantastic with what you're wearing now.
Yeah, he takes it from you, goes over to the mirror to like hold it up. I would say like the gem's probably about like yay big, like a Kinder Egg size.
Yeah, it's sizable.
No, big but not like big. And he hangs it around him, and it does sync pretty well. I mean, dark blue goes with a lot of things. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's not a difficult color to match. And he like looks to it and said, like, puts it up against his clothes, turns like towards the fireplace light once, and then turns away to like see the color as it changes. He then turns around and says, I would be able to offer you at the present 4,500 gold. I probably shouldn't be buying this, all things considered. But I know something when I see it, and when I see it, I generally want it.
Man, I want to negotiate, but I don't want this to blow up in my face. It's a deal, sir.
He walks across
You know what you could do?
To a
Too late.
buffet table, like one that's like shaped where it like rounds out in the center. Goes over and he pulls a key, twists it. You see him like mime something, say a few words, and then press his hand to it, and the drawer comes open. It then rolls open like way, way deeper than the piece of furniture would suggest it should be rolled. And then very far back, you're able to make out the glint of gold, platinum, jewels, other things. Jewels here meaning things that you use for monetary trade, not necessarily decorative. And he pulls out the amount stated, proffered in platinum pieces, which thankfully a lot lighter than gold. Puts it out onto a scale, waits for it to balance. And it's weird because the scale doesn't have anything on the other side. Like it obviously is some magical piece that knows what he's looking for. And once it does, he nods it, pulls a box, like a wooden box, pushes everything inside, closes it, pushes the drawer shut, says the same words, twists the key, puts it down his shirt, and returns to you with the cigar box, shaped, size thing. Your proceeds.
It's always a pleasure doing with a business with a man who has an eye for craftsmanship.
Oh,
Now, if you would I do have a question for you, sir. Do you have a significant other?
He kind of looks up to you as he was looking at the gem and says, "I'm sorry, what?"
A partner, a wife, a lady you're trying to woo?
Oh, no, not at the moment. I honestly just come into the city from the countryside, after I was out on a few hunting expeditions. I love the festival. It's a great time to socialize. A lot of the other nobles come in. It's good. Though perhaps at the feast tomorrow evening.
Yes, well, let me make another offer to you. You notice the clarity and purity of that gemstone there, and I'd like to inform you that we have 3 more gems in a similar fashion, 1 sapphire and 2 rubies. If you would commission me to make an accompanying piece, a partner of yours would look quite darling wearing the second necklace.
I'll have to think about it, depending on what it is I would want and what it is I would want it to look like. And he kind of looks towards the ceiling a bit, and you can see him mumble something.
Mhm.
It's not super clear even in the quiet of the library.
Can I roll perception?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Garugamesh is doing Garugamesh things.
Give me a sense motive as well.
I can do that one.
He's counting his gold.
I'm more so interested if I offended the man.
Okay. He doesn't seem offended. He actually seems to be focused on something, and you can tell it has nothing to do with anything that is happening right now. He's not offended with you. In fact, he seems to be rather pleased with the whole situation. But it's obvious that he has pulled in a couple of different directions.
Well,
If my memory serves me well, you shall be there, and if I have a design ready, I will approach you. How does that sound?
that sounds fine. I can't imagine 3 of these at such a high price would go very quickly. You may send for me at the chapter house.
Certainly, please enjoy the party. We're going at least until midnight tonight. Stay as long as you please.
Will do. I'm going to exit and find Daxius, unless there's more to the interaction.
Okay. No, he lets you go, and as you exit the library, you kind of notice how much noisier it becomes. You go outside, and, well, I'm sure Sven is enjoying himself. Vernix is talking to people and not making the greatest of headway, although you're not totally certain what it is he's talking about. And Daxius is...
Daxius is currently in the... He's kind of just retreated to one of the corners and has become very nervous. And is just kind of tapping his glass rapidly, just darting around the room, little eyes wide.
I approach Daxius. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem a bit nervous in this situation.
No, not at all. What do you mean? I'm fine.
I would think you
what's
have
up?
a right. I would think you have a right to be nervous, and I would suspect you may have seen something that I haven't, because I saw something quite suspicious.
No, not yet. What did you see?
The Baron appears to be in dealings with another party regarding large amounts of money in an underhanded fashion, which is nothing new. I didn't get the sense that there was anything to do with the current, and I kind of whispered to him, vampire problem, but there appears to be other forces at play in the city beyond the influence of the Lutz Manor.
It's not totally shocking, but
Of course, I don't have
there's a lot of.
confirmation.
No, it's still good information, but there are a lot of. I mean, in any city you go to, it doesn't matter which one, there will be a lot of interlocking parties all mixed up in the same soup, so to say. But
That is
It's still something we should keep an eye on.
As to say, if you notice anything, with you being able to slip into the background, it might be your eyes are more valuable than eyes or Sven's.
Well, if
Or-
there's ever anyone that you think is, could use a little buttering up, some information we can get out of, I could help with that.
There's a man wearing a serpent mask. I don't know if he's still here, but I would look for him.
I'll scan the room and see if I can find the man in a serpent mask.
I'm gonna roll perception as well, because I figure we're splitting up, or at least looking. Alright.
So, Grugamesh, unfortunately, you don't have any luck in this regard. Daxius, you definitely fare better. You find him speaking with two men wearing kind of really heavily concealed, like, hat masks on. Definitely sizable dudes. Speaking with them, kind of giving a nod, a gesture here and there, and then they begin leaving, like going through the front door and out into the streets.
I am going to cast Detect Thoughts while I still have them within range.
Okay.
I'll just take a copper piece and just flip it in my hands. Yeah, that's my, like, somatic components.
Okay. You get the thoughts of both of like the tougher looking guys, and most of their thoughts are boredom. They don't seem to like the people that are around them. They think they're all a bunch of rich assholes, and they think that this has nothing to do with what they were paid to be doing, and they just want to be anywhere else. Like a lot of thoughts, these guys are not bright. Like you don't get the sense that there's a lot of thoughts there.
At least I agree with them.
The third person, obviously the smaller guy in the center.
Is this the one with the serpent mask?
Yeah, the older man is outside past the doorman as like he steps down, and you hear the thoughts of Theodore is always stupider than his father ever was. He has to. Who the fuck is there?
Huh? I will continue, like, as he, like, it continues to, like, go beyond where, like, my range would be, as he's, like, leaving. I'll, like, walk a little closer.
Yeah, like
I'm
he
gonna
goes
follow
down
Daxius.
to
And
the
to keep him
bottom of the
framed.
step, and like I said, you hear the thought, who the fuck is there? And he turns around to look.
I'll just turn away and just start mingling with the crowd. I don't need to keep eye contact with him.
No.
With Garugamesh seeing that Daxius is following someone, do I notice the man in the snake mask as well?
Okay. You begin to hear him, well, think something. Obviously, wait, what languages do you have?
I have
You do have Draconic.
Common, Draconic. Yeah, Draconic.
You hear him repeat an incantation in Draconic, and then the thoughts stop. Like, you stop
Yeah.
hearing it.
Uh-oh. Can
What's
I,
up?
like... I'm just gonna cast message to Grugamesh. I don't say anything aloud. He was able to notice that I was peering inside and cut the connection.
You seem dangerous.
Very. Tell the others I'm going to be gone for a minute, and if I'm not back within, let's say, if you don't hear back from me within 5-10 minutes, you should probably come looking for me, and I will split off. And after like a minute after like the connection breaks, I will leave the manor and try and follow where he's gone to.
Mm-hmm.
I go and just let Sven and Vernix know that Daxius has departed after someone suspicious.
You exit And you aren't able to see him, but you do notice the two larger men. Like I said, long, heavy clothes, black capes go down. The boots they wear are very obviously meant for like work. They are armed. They are armored. You see them standing beside a carriage, like flanking it as if to defend the door. And they just stand there. They don't really. They're looking like towards the house because the carriage is parked across, but they're not reacting to anything. They're kind of glancing around, but not really focused on any one specific thing. They're just waiting.
How far away am I from the carriage?
Maybe like 30 feet.
Is there any like signets engraved on it or like sigils that I would recognize of like noble houses or anything?
Give me a knowledge nobility.
It's a black unmarked carriage.
No nobles like names or sigils come to mind, but you do kind of recognize it. Kind of a symbol of let me do a little bit of work. Okay. The letters O and U, like top left, bottom right, across. In the bottom right appears to be what like looks like almost like a plow, and in the top right is a like crossed swords.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat that description again?
Yeah, it's basically you have a cross, like a cross section. In the top left is O, in the bottom right is U. In the bottom left is what looks like a plow, like a steel plow, and in the top right is a set of crossed swords.
Okay. And does this symbol mean anything to me?
Well, you definitely don't like actually you do.
We've been in the kilns. It sounds like something from there.
You recognize that as belonging to, and I think that's why you kind of realize it because you've seen the symbol around, that of the Ulrichsen family. They own the ironworks here in the kilns, probably one of the largest employers. He is a baronet, like he is actually titled, although baronet is not much of a title if I'm being honest. It's sort of the same way that like a sir, like a knighthood is given out in the United Kingdom presently, where it bestows an honor, but not much with it. It just acknowledges that he is an important person.
Do I have a name that comes to mind?
Well, two, actually. Obviously the father, Olaf, O-U, and the son, Roderick. A person I believe a few of you have already spoken with. He is a professor at the college. He knew Frederick before he died. But you stand there for a little bit because they're not moving and the carriage isn't moving either. Give me an intelligence check.
Sure.
Nice.
You also kind of notice that wasn't in the direction he was going. And actually, as you're standing, like watching, like waiting to see if it'll move, you
oh shit!
You see a woman walk out, like an older woman walk out from the party towards the carriage. Kind of looks at the two, like, "Who the fuck are you?" And like the two men like give a bow and just leave.
I'm immediately taking off to the direction I originally thought he was going. I've been fucking duped.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I will once I get away from the party, I'll find a quiet place and just use the hat of disguise to go into like a different form. I'll go into my human form. I'll be something more like I guess we're in like the manor hold, so something like a really looking like the son of a lord, like
Mhm.
well dressed but not well dressed.
Mhm. Okay.
And I will just see if I can follow see if I can follow his tracks at all.
Well, he's definitely got a good lead on you, considering you stood there for a couple of minutes looking at someone else's carriage.
Actually, I'll find a fuck it. I have enough spells. I'll cast Vanish on myself and I'll climb a building to get a better vantage point.
Okay. I'm assuming that you're gonna
You-
go south, not north or
Mm-hmm.
east.
Yeah.
Towards the tower that's beside the Reichspost office.
Yes. I'll use the rope of climbing to help ascend faster to not waste time. And yeah.
You're able to get up, and you see a lot of people. Let's be honest. Most likely, you think he probably went south or east, as he had you looking west. You, however, obviously the two men who were with him, you see them walking, but they're walking, vanishing, like in vastly different, like directions, almost like aimlessly. You don't see the man himself, and you think, shit, he probably went down towards the market where there's a huge crowd of people. Either that, or he perhaps got in a carriage.
Do I see any like super fancy carriages around?
Yes, you're in the manor hold. You see many.
Right, of course. Everything looks the fucking same here. How can things so different look so similar? All right, south or west? I guess the market makes the most sense. He knows someone's following him, so I will cast Expeditious Retreat on myself, and I will try and run towards the market.
Okay. Okay. The vanish probably ends likely as you reach the bottom.
Yeah.
Not that, as you appear and people kind of gangway around you, like it stands out. There's a lot of fucking people and everyone's sort of having a good time. You rush down into the marketplace and you're pushing your way through, and perhaps this is one of the instances where being short really sucks.
Yes. God. You fuck out of my way. Ah. You need to take a shower. Ugh.
Yeah. It's difficult to see around or above anybody, and you're pushing through, and your weight, your height, your build doesn't really lend itself towards bull rushing through a crowd after somebody. You get out into the main street where it kind of thins up, and you look like towards the left, and you see at the center square, like right there between the trophy room and the chapter house and the marketplace, where there is like a functionally a wicker man being built. Actually, a bunch of wicker men, smaller ones, with one singular large one above that. And to the right, you see people moving or pushing barrels down, like rolling them on their sides towards the wall from the other direction. You don't see anybody that stands out, and you don't see your quarry.
Fuck. Probably completely lost them at this point.
You think so? You believe, obviously, since he knew who that somebody was following him and somebody was looking for him. The fact that he was able to misdirect you, and the fact that I think you're smart enough to realize that he is a wizard of some power. Most likely
he could have gone invisible too.
Scrub his tracks.
He's fucking good. Which makes him fucking dangerous. But do I even bother heading back? I don't even want to be there.
At this point, Kurugumesh would be outside, looking for Daxius.
Okay.
It's probably been more
I
than 5
told him to
minutes.
look for me. I better go back.
Okay.
I will walk at a normal pace as to not draw attention.
Okay.
And just to be safe, I will take a longer route there, bobbing and weaving through alleyways. And at some point going back, when I'm like closer to the manor, going back into the form I went into the party with, just to, if anyone's following me, lose them.
Okay. This probably finishes the point, Fernix, where you finished asking your questions. You didn't really get particularly anywhere. Like you said, you keep talking about other random things and keep changing your own costume to make it prettier.
Exactly.
You get the idea that, like, the people here don't necessarily seem to like the Lutzes, but they are respected and they are feared. Although a lot of people can't tell you exactly why. I guess is the interesting thing. Edor comes back to you, telling you what he saw Daxius running. And obviously tells you what he can relay.
I don't use a lot of big words because we're in a big group of people, but yeah, whoever that was, well, either someone in the family, they were, I think, if they are, with their magical proficiency, I'd put my money on them being Roderick. Roderick's of shorter status, right? Of stature, I mean.
Well,
So.
and passing by, he seemed older than the Baron, and the Baron is maybe 40s or 50s. If that, I would probably peg him maybe around 60 years old. If the Baron, if Roderick is the younger brother of the two. Let's see, it's Roderick and what was the name of the one that started with U? Ulrichsen. My money is probably on Ulrichsen. If there's one wizard in the family, there's probably two. But
fair assumption.
we need to figure out who Roderick. Can we just remember how old Roderick is, since apparently we've met him?
Probably in his late 30s or early 40s.
Okay.
I think
So,
Vic and
old
Burnix were the
age.
one that spoke to him the most.
It also might be worth asking around if there are any wizards with an affinity for snakes. It might not be anything to go on, but people have an affinity for their symbols. And snakes typically have a connection with some sort of arcane symbology.
Oh shit. I just had a thought. I did use Vanish, but he might have been able to see me anyways if he is a wizard.
Well,
It's true.
I didn't.
Yep.
I went to another form, so hopefully, even if he did see me, he wouldn't have seen me. But even then, he might have been able to see through my disguises. I don't know. Anything's possible with a fucking wizard.
I think we were well known enough, and Sven was loud enough that he probably could have taken a guess, no matter what he saw you as
Fair
to who
point.
we are.
Either
My
way,
magic
we
is
have to be
perfect.
careful.
But we keep sticking our noses into stuff like this. Eventually, it's gonna get tapped.
I mean, that's what happened with Ash. Might just happened again.
It's just so hard to hear something like that and not report on it and not follow up.
Well, I did what I could. Sorry I couldn't bring back more.
We're just dogs. We sniff we follow our noses, no matter where they
Fox,
lead.
technically.
Is
But yes.
is that not a type of dog?
Sure, Grugamesh.
I mean,
It's a type of dog for now. And I just give him like a pat on the head.
Yeah.
Good work, regardless. I've only managed to gussy myself up a little bit.
Yeah, he comes out looking pretty good.
It's like a reflective, like, longer coat with, like, this huge, like, overdone collar on the sides, and
He looks like Liberace.
gloves that are, like, yeah, they're like reflective gold leather, really sparkly.
He just wishes
You-
his brother
I-
George was here.
You do look rather stunning. And by rather stunning, I mean I want to burn my eyes.
Can he be wearing cowboy chaps with the tassels on the side as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Don't forget to wear pants underneath your chaps.
He
Those
is.
are assless.
He got talked into everything. Evidently.
Well,
Right.
Stunning.
I've got. How much time do I have on Detect Thoughts? Nah, it's probably gone by now. I have another round. I have more magic in me. I can look around and see if there's anything else more of
Well,
interest to us.
Theodore was quite bothered when I spoke to him earlier. I forgot to mention to you all, I did work up a nice chunk of change for the party. We'll have to figure out how to split it later. Of course, I'm going to try and take a bigger cut because an inch to a mile, as I say.
Sure. Just keep
But-
leaving me in the dirt with all your riches.
You know
It's
what?
fine. It's
You've
fine.
got 10 mouths to feed. I understand why you're in the dirt.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're here for right now. But
Right.
whenever that can get distributed, that will be nice.
Anyways, it's in the bag of holding for now.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
If you still have Detect Thoughts, Theodore might be a good person to look into. He seemed quite bothered. If I could talk to him again and prompt him towards his botheredness, saying, "Oh, I saw you were bothered earlier. I brought you a drink," that might remind him of why he was bothered. We could play it that way.
I can see what I can do. He'll just have to come out of a library.
Yes, well,
I'm much better at this stuff when it's among a crowd of people than a one-on-one scenario.
okay. Well, if you're willing to give it a try, then I am too.
All right.
So I guess we'll head back inside. And do you want another perception to look for Theo, or since I know what he looks like now?
It'll be a lower check. Yeah, it's just he's in a crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, Gilgamesh, you definitely see him. He's schmoozing, mingling with others, kind of speaking with a couple of people, and then encouraging Sven on before like moving on to the next crowd of people to, thanks for coming, haha, look, that kind of shit. Like it's very, he's doing host shit basically.
I go up to one of the servers and ask them, "Would you get me 2 of your favorite mixed drinks, please?" And ask him to come back. Actually, I just go up to the bar. I assume there's a place where I can get alcohol quickly.
Yeah, most definitely.
And what is this you've brought me?
Right. More or less, they bring you back. If you're asking for something like Theodore's favorite or most liked, probably
Yeah,
a snifter of brandy. Like the kind of
Well-
shit that the good shit.
Well, I take 2 glasses of it, walk over to Theodore, and he's like, "I want to tell you I appreciated your business earlier, and when I departed, you looked a bit bothered. And to make up for that, brought you a glass of some brandy."
Okay.
I hope it wasn't anything pressing on your mind. I know the way the anxiety builds and it can weigh on you, especially in a time of supposed to be joyous and your thoughts are just racked with the overmounting pressure. But I want to let you know that as a party, the gate crashers are faced with that very same pressure. all the time, and we overcome it, and we're stronger because of it. And I can see it in your eyes, Theo. You're gonna overcome it too. And then I raise the glass and try and get him to cheer with me.
He listens to you, like his eyes are a bit, like wall-eyed. But he kind of comes back into focus at the end. He's like, "Yes, of course, thank you." And
If he's getting glazed over and lost in thought, that is entirely what I want.
Yeah. Then he takes a drink. Okay, so Daxius, what you hear is a lot of initially, especially as he's looking around and walking to people, it's oh, here it's so and so, and make sure and when this person and their father's this person, and it's a lot of just making sure talking to the right people, making them happy, yada yada. And then finally Grugamesh starts talking to him, and you just hear the whole thing of I'm tired of being treated like a child. I've been studying for so long. They treat me like I'm some fucking neophyte. Wait, what did he say? Oh yeah, right. And that's when he and then tastes the drink. He swallows it and he's like, "Oh god, thank god, this is going down like water." Ugh.
What word did he use? Neophyte?
Neophyte. Yeah.
Mhm.
What's a neophyte?
I'm googling that now because I don't know either.
That's from
you
the
remember
Matrix.
the Matrix?
I thought that was-
it's whenever there's an action scene with him.
I thought that was just some common word I didn't know.
Neophyte means somebody who is a beginner, a novice, an untrained,
Oh.
Okay.
and it's Neophyte.
Mm-hmm.
Neophyte. And then as he finishes, he kind of shakes his head, and he looks at you, Rubus, and says, "Well, thank you for coming. I really hope you've enjoyed your night. I need to get out to make sure everyone else is having a good time."
I pull him close and I whisper in his ear, "Miles better than the Lutz party, my friend." And I pat him on the back.
Yeah, he that's a little weird to him. And
Oh, really?
a little bit, yeah. Daxius, you definitely get a hint of who the fuck does this guy think he is? And then you hear the looks, and he's like, "Oh, that fucking crazy bitch." Yes. And he just kind of turns and walks off, puts his glass onto the tray of a passing waiter, and kind of vanishes off. A lot of his thoughts go back to, okay, this person's and this person's
Okay.
Can I recall? Oops, sorry. Can I recall back to when he was in the library? Were there any? Can I remember if there were any books on the table?
Considering you probably weren't looking for something like that, give me a wisdom check. Maybe you will. I don't think so. You noticed that there were a decent amount of tomes and thicker books out on tables. There were two seats, high-backed armchairs sitting in front of the hearth facing it, and you remember seeing a couple of books sitting next to it, but they weren't open, they were closed. They kind of seemed haphazardly piled on top of one another. You have no idea how long they've been there, and you didn't really get a feel when they were there.
Okay. Sorry, Joel, you were saying?
Oh, I was just going to, as he splits from Grugamesh, kind of intercept him and just say, just to keep it brief, along the lines of "Hey, you look exhausted. How's your just start chatting him up and just start trying to butter him up a little bit
Oh, Theodore?
until, yeah."
Okay. He not that he suspects anything, but he's "I have to keep moving. Thank you for coming. I apologize I didn't recognize you. You're welcome anytime." And he's pleasant and genial and that kind of stuff, but it's obvious he's worked up. He also is just with the many people around him. A couple of servants come up and he orders them around, make sure you get this and make sure you get that and clean this up.
Please, don't be so hasty. Look, you look so stressed and tired, and you look like you need someone to talk to. I understand. I know the look of someone who's stressed out of their mind. I'm an
Forgot
open
to
book.
mention-
You need someone to talk to, I'm open.
Offer him a foot massage. I promise it'll go down well.
I looked through this. I don't think it says that they are, I mean, even if they are aware that I do it after it goes away, they don't actually know who I am, because I,
If it
Oh,
does
shit,
not
I-
explicitly say, which I do not think it does.
It doesn't, because I had not really used the spell this entire time, because I was under the assumption that they would recognize it, but I was
No.
just scrolling through it, and I was wrong, so.
Okay, so, like you use that. Okay. I'm gonna say that you allow him to turn away because it does require verbal and somatic
Yes.
components, and then try to like follow up to speak with him. Like
Mhm.
as you speak, they kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, my head is absolutely killing me. I think
It's
I need to lie."
okay. No, of course. Here, let me escort you to somewhere more quiet. It's very loud here.
He like kind of like, I appreciate it, thank you. Please enjoy. I'm about to have a cake come out, and he just kind of like, enjoy yourself, yada yada. You think he resisted? He doesn't notice anything though. He just thinks he has a headache.
That spell never fucking goes well. Then I'll return to the group. Yep, I couldn't get shit.
It seems to me he might be training in some sort of arcane art if he's meeting with wizards.
Possible.
And I recalled that he had magic tomes in the library out. Could have not been his, but why would there be so many out for another person?
That's a fair
I
point.
could be barking up the wrong tree. Did you notice anything that might allude to that?
They didn't seem very magically adept, to be honest. If they were, they probably would have recognized what I was doing.
Fair enough.
But I could be wrong. I mean, even when I'm affected by magics, I can be unaware, so he might be perhaps even just a beginner. That's as far as I'd put it.
But is it common for nobles to secretly practice magic to get the upper hand on their social competitors?
If they do,
Yes.
they usually, from my experience, they seem to either, if they do have the aptitude for it, to a certain degree, yes, but if they don't, a lot of the time they'll just hire someone else to do it for
Basically.
them.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Maybe that's what was going on.
Perhaps. Well, I still have a few minutes with this spell. I'll keep looking around and see if I can find anything.
Take the lead.
Yeah, most of the thoughts you get are really inane.
Yeah, I
The people
assumed as
around you
much.
are really fucking inane. Some of them are lewd, some of them are like vaguely criminal, but in the way of like might be bad people, as opposed to might be in some sort of conspiracy. You're surrounded by a lot of money and a lot of people who are very accustomed to having a lot of money, so is that really out of the ordinary for this kind of a crowd?
Not really.
You definitely get the sensation of like something isn't super right, but like the people here don't seem to notice, and it's not necessarily with them.
I mean, I get that feeling in any kind of manner, regardless of the situation.
Either way,
Eh.
the time ends and you're left wanting.
Well, that's about the... that's my usefulness all run out, sorry. But,
I don't know that we're gonna get any more information out of this masquerade party.
No, I don't know if we will either, and...
And it's getting close to the tar barrel carry, so
Yes.
Did Vic ever
Yes,
show
we
up
should be
here?
on our way.
I haven't seen him at all.
you know,
No, I don't believe he was coming.
No.
I heard he went back to the chapter house.
Ah, I see. Doesn't exactly seem like his crowd.
If you want, I can send Etor over here and have him fetch him. Although I'll need to write something real quick, or... I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. And just reaches into a pocket and takes out a piece of parchment and just, like, folds it up and then starts tearing it into little bits. And just takes out a piece of chalk. And it's like, here, it's better than nothing.
What is this?
Just, well, I hand it to Etor, who just, like, kind of, like, holds all of it and, like, looks around. What do you mean, where are you supposed to put it? I thought it was obvious. Here. Takes it back from him and tucks him into the sides of the bow tie.
It's like he's got a really cheap frill.
Need to get him like a little messenger bag.
Yes.
You know, Fernix, I had an idea. Would it be possible for, Eddard to carry like a Mills bomb into the heat of battle for us?
A what now?
Grenade.
This thing, and I pull out the grenade.
I quickly grab his hand and push it away. Like, do not show that in public. For the
Nobody
love of
knows
God.
what this-
Grenades
nobody knows what
strapped
this
to
is.
children.
I now know what I should have given that
Or
child
like,
back
yes,
to the tailor.
continue. The poor children, right?
I hope so.
I don't
I
really see
figure
the
Vic
difference
is not
between.
gonna go that. So, I guess with that done, what do you guys do? I just want to figure out where you guys are going once you're
I've got
I'll
to make
follow
it to the tar
Gilgamesh.
barrel on time.
Yeah, while he's doing that,
Sven's
Oh,
gonna have fun
sorry.
and stay here.
I can believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
Like a whole
was
20
going
hours.
to,
So Grugamesh,
Wait.
you and Dax are going to the tar barrel ferry.
I think Birch, did you say you were joining?
yeah, I was gonna join and watch, but I did want to see if I could run over and grab some potions, and then I'll send Etor to go and have have his potions filtered into him, however that works.
Okay. Okay. So 3 of you are going to the tar barrel carry. Vic, you're remaining at the chapter house, and Sven, you are staying at the party to schmooze and have fun.
Yes.
I-
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And with you guys either variously heading where you need to head or not going anywhere, staying exactly where you are, I guess that's where we'll be ending this session for this week. Hopefully, we won't have to be limited next week time-wise. And
I
we'll
hope not.
see how it goes. Kind of a strange place to end, but so be it. All right. So, thanks everybody for playing, and thanks everybody who watched for keeping up. And we'll hopefully see you next week. All right.
Don't forget to like
See
and
y'all later.
subscribe.
Like
See y'all
it's
later.
Bye.
comment, subscribe.